Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the show today. It's quite a beautiful day for me, seeing as the typhoon has passed. So it's windy, which I like, but it's sunny, shiny. It's always like that after. I kind of always enjoy it after hurricanes and big storms. You get those beautiful skies, Thundero. Yeah. Uh,
know I've been in a hurricane, but
uh, oh,
at least not. I wouldn't know what a hurricane sky looks like. But yeah, after a big nasty, like we get tornadoes and stuff,
sure.
and the way
Yeah.
the sky looks, it's very different. The one thing that's always one of the best times to be outside is right after a really nasty thunderstorm.
Oh yeah.
There's so
Oh yeah.
much energy, like just energy everywhere
Yeah.
from the fury of nature being unleashed,
It's
and
true.
it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool feeling. It'll energize you. In fact,
Yeah.
if you stay out there and just chill in it for a little while.
Well, you know what it is? It's that minus ion in
Yeah.
the air. Yeah. We humans really like that. The interesting thing is when you get a lot when the rain's on you, you get that positive ion, right? And we
Right.
don't like that much. That's why rainy days are gloomy, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, no, absolutely. But yeah, I forget you're landlocked. Um,
Well, I've got the big lakes, but yeah, I'm
well,
not
those don't
no
count.
ocean.
Those aren't real.
Oh, they're real and
Yeah,
they're real big,
yeah, they are.
but they're not ocean.
Actually, I've always wanted to sail on them. But
I've been out on Erie a couple times. Erie's one of the small ones. I think it's the second smallest. But yeah, no, they're pretty cool. Like it's very interesting when you think about it that Chicago and my city are port cities of giant fucking lakes. Like just some of the biggest lake. I think they're the biggest lakes in the world. Um,
they are
because
large.
we're
Yeah.
right in the middle of literally right in the middle of this continent. And yet here we are, port cities. And because of the rivers, is it the Hudson? I think it's the Hudson, goes all the way out to the Atlantic.
It
So
does.
technically it's an actual open
Sea.
sea port.
It's a sea.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And of course, they built those canals
Yep.
long ago in a time where they only had horses, and they supposedly did it in a span of 5 years. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean it sounds reasonable, just like building
It
the
is
pyramids.
definitely. Yeah.
Perfectly plausible. Yeah.
Yeah. Very plausible. Don't get me. You always want to get me on the Tartarian shit, man. What are you doing? God. But yeah, no. But so my weekend was damp. But didn't have any leaks though, so that's always good. Everything's nice and
Mhm.
tight. But yesterday afternoon until this morning, I've been busy cleaning up stuff and you know. Because we've got, I live in a community here, and of course, there's several sections to this little village I live in, but this section I live in, we've got a bunch of neighbors and stuff. And yesterday I went out and kind of moved trees around and put them off on the side to maybe get cut up later. But I just figured I'd do it because it just annoys me because
Mm.
I can grab a hold of the tree all by myself, drag it over, put it where it needs to go, and if I don't, I gotta watch the 4 or 5 of them struggle with it,
Right.
and it's annoying. It's like, why are you so scrawny?
Sounds annoying, yeah.
I'm
They're
sorry.
pretty small.
They are. They're just. It's shocking the
Yep.
strength level different because living back in the states, you don't even have that thought doesn't come in your head. I mean, I've always been a fairly strong guy, but I mean, I'm nowhere near the pinnacle, right? But
Right.
my goodness, dude, it's literally like 4 times, maybe five. I'm not exaggerating the strength level. And I'm
Well,
gonna,
I know that like Indian men are technically the weakest when it comes to like grip strength and upper body strength
are
of
they?
the men.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And I would believe, I mean, I don't see any reason why it wouldn't be true that the Far East Asians or the what normal sane people would call Orientals uh, would probably be right behind them. And then the Indian men on average are as strong as Scandinavian women. That's how weak they are physically.
Wow.
Uh, so you being a Scandinavian, yeah, you probably are close to them, like 3 to 5 times stronger than your average, just naturally than your average
Yeah.
Japanese man.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not being mean. It's just like, damn, dude. I mean, because like there was one tree I saw him struggling with, and I just went over and just dealt with it. But the thing wasn't even a foot thick. It's like
Mhm.
10 inches, 8 inches. It's a
Yeah.
little tree, dude.
Yeah, you should be able
Right?
to one hand that.
You should.
Pick it
I
up and move it.
I did one-hand it, dude. They're sitting
That's
there.
what
There's
I'm
like four of them struggling with it. And I was like, hi, hi, hi. And I went and just grabbed a hold of one of the bottom branches, one-handed, drag it over to the side and threw it in the thing. It's
yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah, I had to
Um,
do that after a tornado. One time when I still lived with my parents way back in the day, there was we didn't get hit by the tornado, but we got all the storm around the tornado, and it knocked over a big tree. Split. We had these like two really big. We had one big oak tree and like these two big maple. I think they were maples, like big old ones, and
mm,
one of
mm.
them split in half from the wind. It didn't get hit by lightning. The wind just got it and split it,
Oh,
and
yeah, yeah.
half of it fell into the road because it was probably almost 100 foot tall. And so I had to go out during this storm and try to clear the road. So no, because there was no way anybody would have seen it. They would have crashed right into it.
All right. Yeah,
Um,
sure. Yeah.
and it was just not fun at all. But yeah, that's probably about what I was dealing with branches wise, besides the actual trunk, which that wasn't fun. But me and my buddy got that. But the branches themselves were probably about that, about 10 inches around, maybe even bigger. And you
Mm.
just had to pick them
Grab a
up
hole
and
and get it
drag
done. I know you just
them.
drag it. Yeah. I mean, for us, we're us growing up, it's just a normal thing, right?
Yeah.
You just because I grew up in the East Coast, we get hurricanes every couple of years, right? We get one rip through,
Mhm.
sometimes a big one. But it's just definitely different here, and it just absolutely shocks me. I did get to use my excavator though.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's always fun.
it is because I don't really use it much. The guys use it, but I didn't use the what I guess you call it a front loader,
Mhm.
like a bulldozer. When I was a kid, we called it a bulldozer, but I
Yeah.
think they call it a front loader. I didn't use that, but I did use the excavator, and to move rocks out of the road because we'd had a little bit of a mountain fall because of the rain and
Mm.
stuff. So that was fun. I hadn't been able to do that before. I did enjoy myself, but I was busy. And then this morning I got up early and I washed all the vehicles. So
That'll
you know,
do it.
now you got to get the salt
That'll wear
water
you
off
out.
them. You don't want to leave it on them.
Yeah.
Because I could
Well,
literally throw a stone into the ocean from where I sit.
see where I live, I mean, battling those sorts of forces is not really you can't win it. You're from the Northeast, you
Well, you're
understand.
in, yeah, yeah, but you're worse. You're in the Rust Belt, dude. It's awful
Yeah.
there.
There's no winning the battle against rust here. Your car is going to eventually rot.
Yeah.
It's just gonna happen.
You know where I gained respect for that, for the Midwest in that regard, and
Mhm.
I finally understood what you meant by the Rust Belt, because I just
Yeah.
always thought, that it just meant you have a lot of iron there, right?
Right.
Uh, because I do come from the East Coast, and in the winter we get a lot of salt on the roads. We wash our cars all the time. But
Mhm.
I got respect for that by watching a show called Watch Wes Work, and he's
Mhm.
right there, like in Illinois or Ohio, somewhere right around where you are,
Mhm.
in that farmland. And he's a actual mechanic that has his own place, and he does a YouTube, and he's professional, and he works on cars, people's cars, and trucks, and farm vehicles, and excavators, and all kind of stuff. And just watching him to have to get in there with a torch every damn time to get a bolt off, dude. It's like
Yeah.
Jesus, dude. I mean, that is
Yeah, it can
bad.
get crazy. It can
Yeah.
get crazy. Um, what because what it is this, is supposed to be a swamp, but it's a cold swamp. It's bog
Yeah, it's a
and
bog,
marsh.
yeah.
And it just if we don't maintain, you can go back in the woods and whatever where there's nobody keeping it up, making sure the ground stays dry. It gets wet again and all that humidity, even in the winter, it can be humid outside here. It's crazy. Like it's something if you've never experienced cold humidity, and I don't mean like snow, I mean dry outside, but it's like humid like it's hot outside. If you've never experienced that, you just don't understand what I'm saying. That your brain doesn't get it. But if you're from the Midwest, your brain gets that, understands it.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
very weird thing. And then obviously because of that, because our roads can ice without snow or rain, because of that humidity will drop once the pressure changes, and then we'll just have icy roads out of nowhere. we have to constantly be treating them. So there's constantly salt or something like salt on them. So yeah, you wash your car, you have to do it every day. You would literally have to do it every
Oh
day
yeah,
to keep it
yeah.
off.
No, no, no. I know. I come from New England. I'm well
Yeah.
aware. Winter's the worst when it comes to that cart maintenance for sure.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of people don't bother with it, and they pay for it.
Yep.
Yeah. But it's funny you mentioned marshes because in my head it just kind of went off on a report I read recently. They're, the archaeological world, the professors and stuff. Of course, most of the pain in the ass ones are dying off or retiring, but they're loath to admit certain things,
Mhm.
and but recently they've been forced to. So I feel a little bit bad for them. Their world is kind of crashing down around their ears. But there's a region in the world called the Sundarbars, and which I'm pretty sure that's how you pronounce it. But of course, the name itself, you should have figured. People named it for that way for a reason, didn't they? But nevertheless, it's between India and Bangladesh, and it's a big mangrove forests, marshy swamp area, right? With a whole
Yeah.
bunch of inlets. It's pretty impressive, geological formation if you guys want to check it out. But but for years, people have been digging in there and finding, all kinds of pottery and brick roadways and foundations and all kind of stuff under the silt, right? And for a long time, they've been saying, "Hey, this entire region has been buried, right? Not by floods. It's just been buried somehow." Of course, we know what it is now. It's volcanoes, right? But finally, the Cambridge has announced that the Sundarbans have been inundated and covered about 400 to 500 years ago. Well, thank you, Cambridge. Right. So it's not a natural marsh. It's a forced creation by. It is probably coming out of that Indonesian mega volcano that went off about that same time, right? Uh, it's probably what I mean. It's right next to it. That thing affected most of the planet, and of course, it would affect stuff near to it mostly. But I don't know why that came into my head, but it just did. It was such a because I could feel the pain in the report because I know they didn't want to say that, you know. But anyway, but yeah, no. So it's done though, and you know, me being a person that's been through a level 3 hurricane, wasn't much of a thing. But the Japanese panic. So I did lose a nice little dogwood tree though. Yeah. Oh well. I'll have to replant something else. But I knew it as soon as the wind started kicking up. Because that thing sat on us for like over 24 hours, dude. It was slow. It just sat right on us. But as soon as the wind started coming, that thing was just twitching too much. I was like, it's not going to make it. It didn't. Well, the problem is I planted those things a long time ago, and I put them in a line, and I think I put the spacing. I think I put them too close, uh, because the some of them their branches and leaves will they take up more space, and the other ones only get a little bit of narrow space to get their leaves up, and that was one of those. So I don't know. Maybe I'll just go and cut every other one out. They've filled in pretty well. I think it would still look good if I did that. I don't know, but I'll have to think about it. Do you do any landscaping on your property?
Mostly, obviously just lawnscaping. But then occasionally I'll have to, clean out the beds. And my biggest problem is we have this like stone walkway that leads up to our porch, our
Oh,
front porch,
that's nice. I got
and
I got one
it
too.
yeah, the problem I have with it though is the dang grass refuses to not grow in it, so I have to constantly be spraying it and pulling it and everything else. And because where I'm at, I can't really use anything strong.
Yeah, wait.
Because if I was out in the country or anything, I could use actual grass killer that keeps it dead,
Uh-huh.
and you can't do that in the city. They
Would
just won't.
you like
They'll
a
have a
primitive solution?
salt.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. No, they get real salty if they catch you doing that kind of stuff, and I don't know. Not really. I don't know if it's worth it to me to get the fine.
Well, I mean, I had because of the earthquake, the big earthquake we had, I had a couple of those walkway flagstones come up, and I had to go and dig them up and replace a couple of them and do all that work. I just automatically salted underneath them.
Hmm.
Just, I don't care. I didn't even check any regulation. Whatever. Go ahead, come dig up my flagstone and taste the dirt. Have fun.
Enjoy.
I'll blame it on the Japanese from 150 years ago. Take that. The Romans used to do that shit all the time. They were mean, dude.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it was effective.
Yeah,
Effective strategy.
yeah.
Um,
They salted the entirety of Carthage. My God.
yep. I mean, Carthage kind of had it coming. Let's be honest.
Well, those are those are our cousins.
Yeah.
So, uh,
Carthago delende est. He
yeah.
was
Well,
serious when he said it.
he
Carthage
was.
must be destroyed.
He was. Yes, but just keep in mind the Phoenicians are us.
Hmm.
They're us. Those mysterious Phoenicians. I don't know why they keep saying they're mysterious. We have all the documentation we need. But yeah, poor Carthage. Anyway, that has nothing to do with comic books at all.
Not even a bit.
Yeah. So, how was your weekend though? Did you watch any movies or do anything interesting?
What did I do this weekend? No, mostly just worked on my projects I'm working on. Getting ready to launch a store. I'm going to sell some things online.
Mhm.
Just little, little entrepreneurial ventures I've got cooking up. Trying to, make some money. Get out of this. I'm in like a groove right now, and it doesn't. It feels like a rut, and so I'm gonna, push myself a little bit because it annoys me that there are young men, much younger than me and much, well, dumber, let's just be blunt with it, than me, who are extremely successful on the internet,
Mm,
selling things, e-commerce or whatever. And
sure.
that bothers me. It didn't used to bother me. This is a recent invention or recent not invention, but irritation in the last few months. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, you know, they don't deserve to be rich. They're not smart enough to be rich, damn it.
Well,
So it bugs me, and I would like to. My goal is to be in a position where I am set for the rest of my life by the time I'm in my early 40s. So I have a few years, and it can be done on
sure.
the internet, especially if you're good with business.
You just got
And
to
I
get
am
at
actually
it.
really good with business. Yeah, I
Yeah.
just that's just been my thing. I just never really applied myself to it. So I've been learning. I've been studying. I've got a whole stack next to me of like actual books, like from differing people on how to do this, people who've done it.
Hmm.
Uh, and yeah, I basically put myself through a little university like crash course of online business. And I've been trying to figure it out because I was serious when I said I don't want to ever work for anybody else again. I
No,
just don't at all.
I said that over 20 years ago, and I haven't.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I just got to figure it out. And I've got, like I said, I got a few irons in the fire. And we'll see which one. Eventually, one of them will catch, and that's all it takes.
Sure.
Just takes one to catch, and then you can grow from there.
Well, the word is perseverance,
Yep,
because you're going to get slapped in the head many times.
yep,
Things are gonna you might look good and then it'll fail. It's just it's gonna happen. I mean, you never know. You could get lucky, but don't count on that. It's but
right,
just about keeping at it, dude. Just keep at it, keep at it, keep at it. If you keep doing it, it will produce fruit. It
yep.
will. You just have to really persevere, and
That's what
that's
I've learned. One of the
yeah,
things I've learned is pretty much, especially in the venues I'm going, like e-commerce, drop shipping, other different things. Most of the people who don't succeed at it, I'd say probably the vast majority, if not nearly all, is because they give up. They
yeah.
they
No, no,
expected it to be a quick turnaround
definitely
or whatever, and
discouraged.
it just
Yeah.
didn't happen. So they just gave up. I made a rule. I even have it as my background. This on my computer right now. It's my background. It's just a little notepad, and it has like 5 rules of
Yeah.
going forward
Do
with my
not get
life.
complacent. Do not get
Yep,
lazy. Be
yep. And
persevere.
that
Yeah.
that's a big one of them. Stop procrastinating. Move,
Yep.
move, move. Give everything minimum 6 months. And if you don't see any profit in it in 6 months, or you don't see potential for profit, then maybe move on. But don't quit before then.
Yeah,
Stuff like that.
and don't expect ridiculously high end either.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, real solid middle of the road comfort is really, it can be achieved, and you never know, you might get lucky. But you just can't count on that. One of the things that's been very useful to me, because I don't want to get into a big, dissertation about it, but one of the things that's going on in the world is these bankers and these politicians and the businessmen, they are really, really trying to lock you in to,
Yeah.
uh, you know, mediated system, right?
Mhm.
They're what they when they say that you will own nothing and be happy, what they mean is they're going to, everything in your life will be subscription based. Your
Mhm.
phone, your computer, your house, your electric bill, your car, everything like that will be. And keep in mind, they're all trying to turn over to these electric cars, but you do realize there's a kind of an important caveat here. There's not enough lithium on the planet to actually have a car equal the number of cars that we have right now. So
Right.
ultimately, what they're telling you is you're going to have to share a car or not
Yeah.
have one at all. Uh, so that's one of the reasons they're trying to force you to electric, so they can control that. And therefore, how do you move control your finances to where you don't get caught in this trap they're trying to set, right? And interesting over here, the past couple few years, we watching this kind of digital currency, right? And well, a lot of the guys who were trying to do the NFTs, I was like, oh, that's great, go make the money you can, but get at it because it's not going to last. And of course, it did collapse.
Yeah.
But in watching all of that, the one thing that has been steady and survived, and the only one that is truly you know, unstoppable is the original Bitcoin, right? All the rest of them have like they have like centers that they work out of, and they can be manipulated and stopped and destroyed. Bitcoin itself, although I'm sure they'll figure out a way, they'll make something illegal and chase after you, but but Bitcoin is the only one I see that would allow you, excuse me, would allow you to actually have some freedom, financial freedom. So that's a good thing. I've been paying very close attention, and because I do have Bitcoin, and I might even want to invest a little bit more. I'm not going to certainly put an entire the whole portfolio into it, but I think it's showing that Bitcoin is something that I don't know that it's necessarily going to be overall profitable. It's not about profit, in my opinion. It's about freedom of use of your money,
Well,
right?
it's also stable stability, right?
Stability, true. Yeah, yeah,
It's the closest thing to digital gold, right? Like gold is
yeah, yeah.
obviously gold, silver, precious metals are hard assets that are always assets, and they always will be. Unless the whole world goes Mad Max, they will always be profitable or potentially profitable.
Yeah.
Um, and that's what I think Bitcoin actually acts as. A lot of people try and use it again as some kind of get rich quick scheme, or they
No, no,
think they're
no.
gonna,
Don't look at it
they're
like
gonna
that.
be turn into millionaires and blah blah blah. Which
No.
maybe you will, but
Some
probably
have. I'm sure some
yeah,
have. Yeah, yeah.
probably
But
not.
no, don't look at it like that.
That's
That's not
one
the
of the
point.
rules. It's part of, it's a sub part of the fourth rule, which is the 6M rule, which is the 6 month rule. But part of that is all get whatever quick schemes, get X quick schemes are a lie. All of them. Get thin quick, that's a lie. Get rich quick, it's a lie. Get happy quick, that's a lie.
Yeah,
All these things take work,
they do.
and that work takes years
Yeah,
and years. So people have to quit diluting. Some people, sure, some people do get lucky. It can happen, and it could happen to you, but don't bank on it. Bank the other way. One
yeah,
thing that actual professional gamblers will often tell you is never bet on luck. Always bet against it. And because that's just the way luck works. The reason why it's lucky, right, when you hit a big number or whatever, let's say you're playing roulette, is because it's just random chance, right? There's no necessarily rhyme or reason to it. But
yeah,
if you bet against that, if you have a way of betting against luck, you're probably going to win more often than not. And they know, like pro poker players know that a lot of players think they're going to get lucky when they get deep into a game. They start. In fact, it seems like the farther into a game amateurs get, the less they rely on their own logic, and the more they start thinking that they're it's luck time. And that's just not reality. So
Hmm.
they will tell you. I've
Hmm.
heard many of them say this: bet against luck, never bet on luck.
Yeah.
I find
Ladies
it
here
interesting.
to tell us that we have no sound, I guess. But I don't know how. Everything's working on this side, lady.
No sound at all.
That's what she says. But I mean, everything's working here.
No, I got sound.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I can
got
hear right now.
sound too. And can you check the YouTube for me?
Yeah, I just did.
Yeah.
I just did right now.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's got
Maybe her thing was
sound.
off or something like that. Uh, but um, but yeah, no. If you have the ability to move some funds around and just study it a little bit, because they are really really pushing right now. Like for instance, Joshua says you have sound. Thank you, Joshua. But for instance, they're coming out with the new iPhone, right? $2,000, right? But also what they're coming out it with is the new Apple subscription service. So you could pay monthly, and of course you won't own the phone, and that's what they
Yeah, I know, right?
want. They don't want you to own anything. Uh,
Well, they don't even want you to own your car. We've been fighting it over here for years now, and they genuinely do not want people to own their own cars. They
no,
want you to not even be legally allowed to work on your own car. Not even
no,
nothing. The
no.
oil change, nothing.
Right of
That is,
repair has been a big issue here for a few years, right?
yeah, it's obscene. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know that you want to talk about an issue the left and the right can come together on. I would think that would be a good one because it's just obscene to say that, to think that they have the right to tell you you
Well,
can't work on what is supposed to be your own property.
you had that I think he was a senator, but I think he was also like a professor or something. But he well, that's 100 years ago. He talked about programmed obsolescence, right?
Yes.
And they're definitely on that. But they want you because they feel that if you're constantly, they want you to be constantly putting money into the system. They don't want you to be self-sufficient. This is why they little things you probably don't pay attention to. For instance, they hate wood stoves. The little black pot stoves that everybody in New England has, right? They hate
Hmm.
those things, and they're trying everything they can to make them illegal because they don't want you to be able to be self-sufficient. They want you on that grid, right?
Right.
Because they're terrified of depressions, and they think that as long as money is constantly flowing out of the consumer, they'll never have to worry about it, right?
Hmm.
That's their thinking, right? But of course, from our point of view, maybe we don't need a market that is constantly bubbling at such a high state. A businessman might, but we, the people, don't,
No. Correct.
right? We don't need a society to be burning at such a high rate economically. It's
Right.
unsustainable. It's purely unsustainable to such a point that they're going to these extremes to demand it be sustainable. That's why they're doing it. It's all about money. It's always about money, right?
Always. Always.
Always.
Yeah. It's something that, in fact, I've heard people suggest this, and I agree with it. It needs to be in the American Constitution that they're not allowed to do this. Period. End of. Like they are forbidden from ever
Well,
doing that to your property, whether it's your home, automobile, anything really. I
well,
don't even like it that they do it with video games. I think that's obscene. The fact
well,
that you have a disc in your hand and you don't actually own it is
Yeah,
ridiculous.
it's across the board, dude.
Yeah,
Now a lot of people saying, "Well, they could take it away from me." Yeah, and it'll ultimately get there. That's not the first intention on their mind, though. But it always
right.
gets. Of course, people will come and abuse something, but that's not the intention initially. But it's everything. Keep in mind when the IRS was brought in, well, 1913 was it?
Hmm.
It was only supposed to be taxing the rich and the corporations, and only temporarily. Uh huh.
Yes.
Yeah, look where we are, right?
It's supposed to be
Uh,
1% income tax at most.
right, and
1%.
and a bill that was never ratified by the states, by the way.
Yeah.
Technically, the IRS is illegal, technically,
Yeah.
right? But just go ahead and try not to pay your taxes. And then, of course, all these assholes putting in property tax. Well, they just with a swish of a pen, they took your ownership of land away.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
can't.
no, trust me on this. The fact that the so-called Republican Party isn't against slavery still, because
No.
I mean that's what it is. Um, is ridiculous. Now people can get, oh, it's not slavery. What do you call it? It's okay, fine.
Hmm.
It's indentured servitude for life to the state, so you can live in. It's serfdom, is
Yeah.
what it is. Functionally, it's no. It's very. There's very little difference. Uh, a gilded cage is still a cage, and that is what they've done. Is they've built these gilded cages like that.
Hmm.
Income tax is another one. A
Sure.
lot of people in America don't actually end up paying income tax because they get it all back. But that's stupid. Like that's just dumb. Why wouldn't the system just be, well, if you don't make this much, you just don't pay at all? Wouldn't that make way more sense? Wouldn't that be far
Well,
easier to manage?
the fiat currency doesn't require actual value, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, you got to look at it like this. Depends on where you are. Excuse me. I pay property tax, which I think is disgusting. Also, death taxes are disgusting. But for all of, I own a big chunk of land here, right?
Mhm.
I pay 320, I think, $320 a year is my property
Wow.
tax. So, okay, it's stupid, but whatever, I pay it, right? But that's this same amount of property, depending where I am in the States, could be 20 grand a year.
Easy.
Easy.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah.
it's just ridiculous, dude. I don't know why we're still on economics, but it's well, it's this. Excuse me. It's straight up disgusting what they're doing, and you notice how harshly they're pushing the insect food, right? Have you noticed?
Yeah. That isn't gonna happen.
Right?
They can
Well,
push it all they want, but
yeah.
I was raised with farmers. I know enough about cattle that I will, if need be, get my own.
Hmm.
I am not eating the bugs. I
Well,
will die before I eat the bugs.
America has a little bit of problem because we have a Homestead Act, but I eventually they'll try to get rid of that. I'm telling you. But look what they're doing in Europe. They're literally shutting down farms, even
Mhm.
though they desperately need the farms, but they're
Yeah.
shutting them down because they're using the excuse of, oh, it's nitrogen, global warming, but it has nothing to do with that. There's full bullshit. But
Yeah.
America, it has, and I think this is the reason why they're trying so hard to create civil war in America, and I truly believe they are. I believe they're intentionally trying to trigger a civil war because America is very problematic for them, right?
Yeah.
Because America has actually in Constitution protection of speech, protection of guns, protection of rights, a right to gather, freedom of movement. Things like the Homestead Act. These things are very problematic for them because they want to shut them down, but we are protected, right? Because they don't want you to go out there and have a piece of land and farm on it. They try to do everything they can to shut you down for that, right? Why do you think lumber mysteriously went up in price when there's no supply and demand situation involved? It just magically increased, what, 800%, was it?
For a while, yeah.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Anyway, um, yeah, no, I know, Roger. This whole thing, they've just recently, in the past few months, really, they've really, really been pushing the insect food hard. And the thing is, the thing with insects is they have negative dietary effects upon you. You can't eat large numbers of them because it actually will cause you harm, right?
There's a reason we take the shells off of crustaceans
Yeah,
because it's very similar to the exoskeletons of bugs, and we cannot digest them.
no, it's not good for you, dude.
Yes,
But whatever. I'm getting yelled at, so I guess we got to get the
I can see that.
comic
I
books
do
here.
want to make one point though. You said about nitrogen.
Mhm.
Nitrogen's like the fifth most abundant
Yeah, I know, dude.
thing in the universe.
Yeah,
It's 78% of our atmosphere is nitrogen. What? There's too much nitrogen. What?
yeah,
What are you
no, dude.
talking about?
Just go talk to a geologist and an actual weather scientist. They're as frustrated as anybody else because this whole global warming thing is complete nonsense, dude. It's complete
It is.
nonsense. There's no science behind it whatsoever. But whatever. It is what it is. They don't
It
care.
is
They'll
indeed.
rewrite history as they like. Anyway, let's get into it here today. I got a bit of a hack today, huh? All right. Well, comic books. So,
Comic book.
holy crap, dude. Uh, it
Uh,
it gets dark. Go
this
ahead.
guy, yeah, this guy. At first, ooh, the Flash star Ezra Miller reportedly under delusion. I'm not gonna say that he is Jesus. He believes. Uh, believes own marriage to a quote a Native American spider goddess is supposed to bring about the apocalypse. End quote. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not even gonna play the ridiculous pronoun game of calling a singular individual a plural.
No,
Shut the
it's
fuck
dumb.
up. That's just
it's it,
nonsense. Nonsense.
it's pure entitlement and ego. But
Yes.
but anyway, um, in some ways, Ezra Miller's full of shit. In other ways, he might well be truly broken mentally. I'm not sure yet. However, in this article, they cover a lot of information because basically what they've been doing is talking to people around him, right?
Mm,
And everyone has just had enough of Ezra, so everyone's coming out just giving all the info. These are supposedly his friends and actors and people around him, and they're just kind of just spewing at the mouth against Ezra Miller. And you know how he kept saying he was polyamorous? Well, he's not
yep.
polyamorous. He's polygamous, and he likes them young girls. There
Yep.
ain't a gay thing about him. There ain't nothing gay about this guy. He's just he likes harems. He likes young girls, and he likes a lot of them. And he plays them again. He if you ever go read any kind of psychology on what makes a cult leader, right, and how they work and how they belittle people and put them against each other, and you can go. There's many papers written on it. He's perfectly this, and he's quite good at it. It looks like, especially when we do with young people. But of course, young people are very easy to manipulate if you really wanted to. That's why we protect them. But nevertheless, um, uh, he is way off the rails, dude. It's way
Yep.
darker and worse than we thought it was. He seems to legitimately believe. He does play the polyamorous, gay thing because it gives him it gives him power, right? And they're saying that there is no conversation with Ezra that is not confrontational. There's none. You can't talk with him without confrontation, right? But mainly, it seems the delusion, the polyamory is simply the is a device, right? But the delusion is that he truly believes, it seems, that he is Jesus and devil together, and the little baby girl he's been running around for a while, the Native American girl, she's actually a Native American spider goddess, and their coupling mhm, will bring about the apocalypse. This headline is not clickbait. It's not.
Yeah. That's insane asylum. Is all. That's it. That's
Well,
it. That's the response. They need to come back in a big way.
and
And certain individuals by the name of Ezra need to reside within their walls, probably until the day of their death.
right. But it seems that this all sparked off in 2019, 2018, because his parents got a divorce. And the
Yep.
people around him says that's what really, kicked it off. But
So
it
he's
is
the Antichrist. That's what you're saying.
He thinks so. Yeah, he thinks so. But it's a very long article. You read it if you want, but we've been talking about this. It's just kind of a compilation now with, confirmation from people around him. So there's nothing new here. We've talked about all of this. It's just the confirmation. But I found this last little bit very, very interesting. See, it's a very long article, right? But this last little bit is what got me. According to Vanity Fair, Miller is currently shooting additional scenes for The Flash.
Yeah.
So Warner Brothers has known about his problems for quite a while, Adrian. Everyone's very aware of his problems, but they keep on putting him out there and they're continually using him. This guy should be under psychiatric care, but
Not
no,
surprised.
no. And you know that,
So
yeah,
it doesn't surprise me that the whole gay thing is a bit of a play.
that's
I've been
coming.
kind of calling that for a while.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of people who play that game, actually.
I do too,
Yeah,
actually.
because like I said before, Trinity College has been doing a study for over 3 decades, and they have found exactly what causes homosexuality. They have found it, right? And
I've
there's
heard this.
yeah, and there's a solution. It's really it has nothing to do with genetics. It has nothing to do with even. It's not necessarily even chromosomal. What it is an imbalance in the mother's hormones, whether it be lesbian or gay, right? And
Yep.
they have identified it, and they've locked it down to that 3.3% or whatever it is, right, of the human population. So if you manage the mother's hormones during pregnancy, you will have no homosexuals born that way, meaning literally born that way, because they've followed them throughout their life, and they are certainly gay. They are gay or lesbian, or, homosexual. They definitely are.
All right.
But they found the causal effect. We have had a 1,000% increase. Is that what they said? In people
Uh,
claiming to be homosexual, transgender, or what have you. So this is all
yeah,
it's all environmental, right?
yeah. I was going to say, so does that rule out environmental? Because
Of course not.
I believe some of it's the environmental
Of course.
aspect of it.
Yeah, of course. But my point is that because it's been openly allowed and even preferred, of course, people are going to play that game, like Ezra
Right,
Miller, right? So,
right.
and therefore, you would think the actual gays, or what are we? I should say homosexual. That the actual homosexuals would be a little bit put out. And you know what I've noticed of late? There's a lot of the actual homosexuals coming out, and they're a bit perturbed because
I'm
yeah, they're
starting to see that more and more. Yes.
yeah, their life is being absconded away with by fake ones. So yeah, I Ezra Miller, dude, I don't know. I mean, I don't really care. There are supposedly, I don't believe in this number, but there's supposedly 8 billion people on this planet, and I certainly can't have sympathy for all of them. Of course, I do have compassion in general, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Well, general compassion is not the same
no, it's not. And
as.
modern people don't understand the difference. You understand that, Adrian? They don't
Yeah.
know a lot of words. They don't understand the difference between acceptance and tolerance, etc. Right? But this dude is dangerous, dude. I mean, he's
Very
hurting
much.
children, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's. He's definitely a dangerous person.
So we should bury him under the prison. Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
down. The world would not lose anything. What great benefit has he given to mankind
Well,
that
he's
if
an
we did not have?
entertainer. Uh, Nothing.
Is he?
Yeah.
Is
Well,
he?
I'm just saying,
That's a
entertainers. They're
that's a besmirchment of all great entertainers to call him an entertainer. What I have watched many things that he happens to be in. I cannot say a single one where he was the highlight or even really memorable. I actually have no idea why he keeps getting work. He's not a
uh,
good actor. He's not.
no, but no, you're right. He doesn't stand out, but he also doesn't cringe me back though. With
Eh.
his acting. So it's me. He's kind of what I would consider a character actor level, and maybe like a mid-level one. But
The
I get
I
your
crazy
mean,
point.
his Flash is horrible.
The what?
Yes,
Just
his Flash is
atrocious.
horrible.
His Flash is atrocious.
No, the Flash isn't very good.
I
Although
don't
I didn't mind
understand
his
why
character there in that Fantastic Beast, though that wasn't so bad.
I
I don't
mean, yeah,
understand
I
why
get that.
they keep doing adaptations of the Flash and they just make him into some Jewish guy,
Yeah.
like a
Well,
really Jewish
Hollywood.
guy. Why can we not have Barry Allen look like Barry Allen? Why?
Yeah,
Why
I
is
know.
that so offensive for us to get a blonde Celt to play a blonde Celt?
I don't know.
What's the problem?
Hmm?
Like none of the other guys are allowed to be blonde Celts except for like Reacher. He looked good. He looked like what he's supposed to look like.
He did.
Everybody else
Yeah.
is just nah. Now we're gonna
Well,
go with this dark skinned or dark tanned toned man that
well,
is clearly not who who the
well,
character is supposed to be.
Well, it is
Right.
interesting, right? Because A lot of your superheroes actually have the Germanic Latin look, right? They're
Yes.
dark haired, dark eyed, or even if they are blue eyed, it's the Germanic side, like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman,
Yep.
right? They're not blondes. I mean,
No.
if we think about the number of blondes we have, there are some. Most of them are female, though, which
Yep.
of course is the blonde bombshell thing, right? I get that.
Female, Barry Allen, and Oliver Queen. Like
Yeah,
that's trying to think of
Aquaman.
other. Yeah, Aquaman too. I That's the only one of the DC race swaps, whatever you want to call them, that at least it makes sense, right? At least they went with a aquatic race of
And
people.
but I think it's because the Flash is one of the most popular DC characters.
Yes,
Aquaman has always been kind of a half a
joke.
joke, right?
Yeah,
And to do something different with him and try to make him better, okay, we're all very we're happy to go ahead and give it a try.
yeah.
But the Flash is a little different. He's beloved. And I always thought it was funny when they always say Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. Okay, fine, but the Flash is truly, truly highly
He's an
beloved.
icon.
He is.
He's absolutely an icon. Everybody knows him. You show that lightning bolt symbol pretty much anywhere in the civilized world, probably anywhere
Mhm.
in the civilized world, and they'll know what it is.
They
Where
know who
Uh,
Flash is. Yeah.
they
yeah,
do. Who is do we have any platinum blondes over in Marvel that I could think of? I mean, Steve Rogers is a dirty blonde like me, I
dirty
suppose,
blonde.
but
Yeah.
platinum blondes.
Visible Woman, Sue Richards.
Sue Richards, there
Sue,
you
Um,
go. Yep, she's platinum blonde.
uh, Miss Marvel back. Well, not Miss Marvel now, but the
Yeah,
original.
the original Carol Danvers. Yeah,
Mhm.
there's one. They're
Yeah.
usually female because it all comes from the blonde bombshell thing, right? The Marilyn Monroe effect, right?
Right.
well, if you're
She's
going
not
for
even a
male,
natural
then
blonde.
Johnny Storm's blonde, isn't he?
Oh yeah, no, yeah,
Yep.
Johnny's platinum. Yeah,
But there's
there
not a
there are a
lot,
few.
right?
There are a
So
few. Yeah,
it's kind of strange because when you think about it, being an actual blonde is actually very rare.
it
A
is.
genuine blonde,
A platinum
Yeah.
genetically. Yeah, and so it's interesting that even in comic books, they're still kind of rare.
yes,
They're
and
not they're not the common.
I'm not even being pedantic and demanding Edgar Winter level.
No, I would just like him to look like Barry Allen. Barry Allen is not a little pussy. Like they
Right.
always make him look like a guy I could beat up. Barry Allen's supposed to be, look like a superhero. He's big, he's strong. He's not quite as big as some of the other guys, but he's still,
Well, I
bigger
I
than your
think
average man.
his toughness is what his thing is, right? I mean,
Yeah,
most of them are tough. Of course, it's part of being a superhero, but that's not their main quality, right? I mean, Batman is tough, but he's well prepared. I mean, it's
yes.
interesting. They always call Superman the Boy Scout because Batman's really the Boy Scout.
Right.
Oh,
Superman
Batman's easily the Boy Scout.
easily. Superman is uncompromising, right?
Yeah,
But the Barry's real thing is his toughness. He's tough as nails, and he'll push through the pain. That's the kind of character he is.
scrappy.
He is, but it's part of his persona, aside from
Yep.
powers and stuff like that, right?
Right.
Uh,
Well, that was one of the things that always drove me nuts is after they killed Barry off for a while, the Flash character under Wally just became so powerful, it's ridiculous. And I just never liked that. I always preferred Barry's power level right near the end of his right before he died. Uh, just it was just I don't know. It was much more manageable for one,
mhm,
and for two, it just made more sense in a
right.
way.
Well,
Whereas Wally West and the way they started doing with the Speed Force, and it just became this. I
that's
mean,
the
the
thing.
Speed Force is basically godly in power. It's ridiculous. It's all
Yeah,
powerful.
it's
What it
pretty
can do.
ridiculous in power.
Yeah, so I mean, it really comes down to do you like the Speed Force or not? If you're
Yeah.
not all about the Speed Force, then you're a Barry Allen fan, really, not a
Yes.
Wally West. But no, I agree. And
So
I don't know why, but it is what it is.
was was the Speed Force, was that a Carmine Infantino creation?
I could not answer that question, dude. I do not know.
No,
Okay.
well, not always there, but it'd been there before. Like they had made references to it. It wasn't as big of a deal until the Wally West run, but it was always kind of like in the background. It just wasn't this omnipresent, near omnipotent force that it became much later. Because I mean, like I said, the amount of stuff Wally eventually gets up to is
Oh,
absurd.
it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
it's
it
just
is, it is, yeah. And I mean, some people love that, fair enough.
yeah,
But I
yep,
do like the simpler Barry Allen. I'm in that, but I might just because of my age. But I'd agree with that. And I don't know what ladies on here about dirty blondes. Don't you pick on dirty blondes? I'm a dirty blonde. Well, I'm mainly.
great.
Well, the thing is though, all of the dirtiness, most of the dirtiness has turned white.
Yeah,
And the
Yeah.
blonde remains, which is interesting because I would have thought the blonde would have turned white first, but no, the blonde
that
is
goes.
what remains,
Yeah.
which doesn't really help because it looks more white.
Yeah,
Yeah,
unfortunately, if you're like me and you got that dark brown hair, when it starts to gray, A- Adrian's seen me in person. I'm only
Yeah.
37.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of gray hair.
yeah.
It's a lot of gray hair.
I started graying in my 30s too,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
luckily I
Well, I
still.
mean, I got the Reed Richards look going on
Oh,
with
there
the
you go,
There you
there you go.
so
At
The
least I
ladies love
still
that.
have hair, which is good.
Yeah, that's
that's
always a plus.
true.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm gonna have that problem unless it starts
Yeah.
happening like now. But
I don't think Thundar's going to have that problem with hair either.
no,
Yeah, like my dad. He's like, my dad's almost 80 and he's got. It's like just freaking like a brush. It's so damn
yeah,
thick.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that might be Thundaro.
yeah, yeah. My hair, on the top of my head. I'm a very hairy individual. It's super thick,
mhm.
and it grows like a weed. I'll get it there because when I was in high school, the school I went to had a very strict code about like male hair length. It couldn't be too long.
Oh, really? Mm.
And yeah, so I had to go every week and a half and get my hair cut to make sure it did not get get too
Wow.
long. Now I wasn't really close, really, but I just like to keep it as trimmed as possible
I had a
because
mullet.
yeah. Well, when I got out of school, I basically had one too. I let my hair grow down to the middle of my
Well,
back.
when I got out of high school, I grew a Viking braid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that. That's
Uh,
good.
you know, back in those heavy metal days. But no, I've been proper for quite a while. Oh
He's a
well.
good boy. He's a good boy now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's easier too, though. And of
Yeah.
course, I grew my
Much
own beard
easier.
because no one here can do it. So.
Hey, you leave my cousins alone, all right?
Wait a minute. I've seen some Japanese guys with beards.
They're very stringy and they poke out to they're horizontal
Yeah,
too. Yeah,
it's very true.
yeah. But that's
They're
all
not
right.
the
I
best.
over the decades I've learned to manage it quite well, and I keep it oiled and I keep it trimmed to the length I want. My wife prefers it
Been
anyway, so.
dwarf like this guy.
Which is really weird because most Japanese women don't like my beard
Hmm.
at all, but my wife really does. So I don't know why she's different, but uh,
She's a
uh
strange
Married you,
animal.
Pesky.
That's true.
that's true, Captain Canada. That guy that plays Zoom does look more like Barry Allen. You're right.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is a nasty piece of work right here, dude. A lot of people want to and this has happened in my lifetime, and it started with the boomers and it continued with the Gen X, which I am. And we're constantly making excuses for people. And the thing is, all right, well, there's clearly some kind of mental illness going on here with Ezra, unless he's a much better actor than we think, and he's just full of shit. He's just an absolute evil creep. It could be that,
Mhm.
but we always make excuses. Well, he's got a mental illness, and it's like, well, okay, fine, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have responsibility, right?
Right.
We have an
Yeah.
old expression, in English that ignorance of the law is not an excuse, right?
That's actually accurate. That's
Yes,
factual information you're saying.
yes, it is.
Um. No. Yeah. Yes, there is some concessions that'll be made for the mentally ill,
Sure.
typically, but they still have to face repercussions for their
Yep.
actions.
Yeah, but
And
not these days. Everyone gets forgiven.
right. Well, it's one of those things like so this is kind of a tangent a little bit, but still. Like with Chris Benoit, the Chris Benoit situation where
Oh
his
yeah,
brain
Jesus
was
Christ, dude,
mush and he killed his whole family and everything, which is, horrible, terrible.
it's very
But
bad.
people forget that in some way he's also a victim of it because he wasn't in his right mind. He was
No,
obviously
Right.
insane.
no,
So yes, he should have been punished very. Well, he killed himself, so he didn't get to be punished. But he should have been punished very harshly for
Sure.
it, obviously. But we have to also delineate. Now, we make jokes about Ezra, or well, jokes putting him under the prison if he actually hurts anybody.
He
But the
already
dude
has,
obviously,
dude.
I know the dude obviously needs to be pulled out of society. Like no joke, he needs to be in something, a jail or a hospital, something
Whatever.
where he
Yeah.
cannot hurt anybody
He
because
needs
he's
help.
dangerous. Danger. Yeah, he needs
Yeah.
help and he needs a lot of it very quickly.
Mhm.
There's something seriously wrong with his brain, obviously. I don't think anybody could dispute that. And the fact that Warner Brothers still refuses to fire him or make him face any repercussions for his actions is disgusting.
It
The
is
people who
disgusting.
It's
are the bad guys here are them
Oh, they're
because
using
he's
the
up
situation. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly, and they're using the situation because they're too cowardly to do the right thing.
Mm. And keep in mind, when it comes to this conversation, what the age group we're talking about with these girls, um, fair enough. The Americans really, in not everywhere, but in general, have this concept of 18 years old, right? The rest of the
Mhm.
planet doesn't agree, right?
Yep.
But still, the general cutoff around the world is 16, right?
Right.
16, you're allowed to make those kind of decisions, right? So even if we go with the general human consensus of 16, he's way under that, dude.
Oh yeah. Way under that.
Yeah. So I mean, because
Yeah.
I've spent most of my life outside of America, right? And I've got to that age that that's actually true. But so I understand the American view is it's skewed too high. I understand that. But even with that said, right? Because some Americans, if you're dating a 17-year-old and she's 6 months away from her 18th birthday, send them to prison. It's like, fuck off, dude. Fuck off, right? I don't
That's
agree,
nonsensical.
right? And the world doesn't agree with you either. But that's not what we're talking about. Because if that was the issue, I wouldn't be on it, right? If it was like 16, 17-year-old girl, I wouldn't care personally, right? The law is the law. You follow the law of the land, of course. But that's not what's happening. We're talking about 12, 13-year-old girls, and that's just too much, dude. It's too much. They're too young. I mean, god damn it, let their tits grow in. For fuck's sake, dude. Leave them
Right.
alone, right?
Yeah.
And not only because I'm a father, but I'm also a teacher. I'm very protective of my students, you know. And if someone was preying on my students, I don't know what I'd do. I'd be mad, dude. I don't know. It would piss me off, right? But once
Mm.
those girls get up, and the guys too, but boys, of course, are very different. But when they get up into older ages, even though I'm still protective, I back way up, right? But this
Right.
is, so I wanted to kind of put that in there that because some people do get just like with the Epstein thing, right? The age of these girls that were being brought in is still very disputed because the ones that they had come forward, those girls were 17 when he was bringing them in and doing what he did with them. And okay, it might be illegal in the state he was in, but that's not the same conversation. Now, I don't want to get into that side of it, but I'm just saying that these conversations, need to be a little bit more, kind of. We need to understand what we're really talking about, right? And Ezra is messing around with little girls.
Right.
No, he needs, like I said, he desperately needs removed from society.
He does, and you're right,
Simple as
Elrod.
that.
It's always that way, right? And it's interesting. Speaking of another person that's very similar to Ezra here, Prince Andrew. We know he's done a lot of stuff, and these days people talk about his connection with Epstein, but he's been doing shit for decades, dude. That guy,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
But it's
Long
very
time.
interesting. Charles has taken a turn that his mother wouldn't do. Very immediately, he is removing Andrew and Harry from any kind of authority within the royal
Good.
family.
You should.
No, he is. Yeah, and for very clear reasons, right?
Yep.
And
Yeah.
the Queen should have done that decades ago with Andrew, dude.
Well, the reality of it is, 100 years from now, the reign of Lizzie is going to be seen as a catastrophe historically.
Maybe.
Her long, yes, it was
Maybe.
very long, which is interesting, but the reality is Britain collapsed while she
Well,
was queen.
because what she did was, and I think people probably don't get that, is what she did was removed the empire.
Yes,
Right.
Right.
That's what happened. You know, they went from being empire to being a constitutional republic, which they keep going, or a constitutional
but
monarch.
as you
Sorry.
know, Chester, when you study history, the person who's responsible for that is always looked on in poor favor.
Oh well, yeah,
Uh,
because yeah.
Empires, whether anybody likes it or not, are the pinnacle of human achievement politically. That is what every great nation becomes or aspires to become, even if they don't call themselves that. And
Right.
when the person in charge, which was her, at least tangentially on paper, um, allows it to be or personally oversees the dismembering, in a way, of it, that person cannot be seen through the historical lens as anything but a failure. That's the truth. Now, people don't want to say that right now because she just died and blah 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 blah, and everybody really liked the queen. I'm sure I would have liked her. She seemed like an actually pleasant lady.
Yeah.
But the reality is, when it comes to rule Britannia, she ended it, and that cannot be something that historians, I hope, don't take into account because other monarchs who are also very popular in their day did similar things at differing points throughout history, and history has recorded that fairly accurately. So
Mhm.
I think that that is going to be her fate historically. Now we will see what happens with the next monarchs. I don't think old man Charles is going to do much. He's going to do a little bit here or there, but he's pretty much just going to try and carry on her legacy of non-interference. Um, but we'll
I
see
think the
what his.
son will be the real
Yep,
change.
I do
Maybe.
too because
Yeah.
I
We'll
I
see
think
what
he's
William
got
does.
much more ambition than his father.
Yeah. Yeah.
Way more.
And that could
But
be interesting because
uh,
people misunderstand, right? So the monarchy, yes, they technically don't use their power, but the queen still had a lot of power.
Still has
She's
it.
oh, they
she's
do,
what yeah,
and she just refused to use it, and that's why
yeah.
you hear because Westerners like, oh, they have no power. Yeah, yes, they do, and
Oh, she
you've
has.
heard a lot of the Brits are worried about what Charles is going to do. Right?
Yep.
They're not fangless. People don't understand that. It's not like Japan. But in kind of going with what you just said, right? Talking about what history will view. Let me ask a simple question to see if anybody here can answer it. Who was the last Caesar of Rome? Anybody?
Oh, you see, I was thinking about him just a second ago too. I don't remember his name now, but
Anybody?
same. You make you exactly. That's exactly right.
Hmm.
He's not
Chat,
even remembered.
chat, Elrod. Okay, his name was Romulus Augustulus.
That's right.
And how many people know that, right?
Yeah.
And we don't even know what happened to him after 511.
Right.
Who
Another
knows?
11 there.
Yeah, another
Interesting.
11. They do love that 11, boy. I tell you what. And of course he was disposed by the Roman, excuse me, by the German. What was his name? He was a German general, Oedeker, right? Yeah, Oedeker.
Yeah.
Oedeker.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
is the one that took it. And keep in mind, that became the creation of the Holy Roman Empire because at that time, the because people say the collapse of the Roman Empire, it didn't work exactly as you think it did, because or the Roman Empire, because the Germans at that time, which I know they keep using the word barbarian, they were frickin' Germans, all right,
Yeah.
and they were way more religious than the Romans were at the time because the
So
Romans had become
barbarians.
decadent. Well, I mean, they always say the barbarians, the barbarian General Ottokar or something like that. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, they're Germanians. They're
Yes.
Germans. They were
Right.
the Romans wouldn't have called them barbarians at the time at all,
Right.
right?
Well,
And of
yeah.
course, do you
Yeah.
know what the word barbarian means?
Doesn't it just mean foreigner, basically?
No, it means bearded.
Oh.
Yeah. I think I had heard that.
I mean, Jesus, whatever. But the Japanese have a much better word for it, and they say namanjin.
Namanjin.
Yeah,
Yeah,
which
no, it's
means
just
foreigner,
interesting.
right? Yeah.
It's
So
just
why
funny
did
when
we
you
start calling? Why did they start getting called barbarians then? I mean, like, how did
the
the
Well,
changeover.
meaning of what we think of barbarian now come about?
okay. Well, oh, God, you're gonna get me yelled at. All right. But no, it's actually very, very simple because as things started to progress, and there's a lot of little things I won't get into. I'll just answer your question directly. So,
Okay.
as Rome became the Vatican, right, and started to coalesce into the Holy Roman Empire, what even though these were Germans who initiated it, what happened is they had had so much money and royalty in the Merovingians, right, which is France, right, the south of France, and
Right.
what happened is a lot of those French kind of got in, and even though the now we kind of look at them as having Italian names, they're actually French noble families, right? And they chose France to be the sword of the Holy Roman Empire, not the Germans, right? So
Okay.
and of course that's what we 1,000 years later we come into the Protestant Reformation, which was created by the German princes, right? Because they were just sick of it, right? But the so them are constantly trying to put down and reduce the importance of the Germans. It's propaganda, right?
Okay.
The Germans just got pushed such to the side, and were totally being overwhelmed by mainly the French via the Vatican, right? That just a lot of this propaganda started coming out, and it's the same time we saw a lot of propaganda. Like for instance, the Satan, which was actually someone who worked for God in the books, right? I mean, he's the person, he's the jester, basically. He's there to argue with God and put up other points so God can test his theories against. That's what the Satan was, right? It wasn't an evil thing. The dragon is the evil, right? Not the Satan. But they started because they were trying to deal with the pagans, and they took all the pagan places throughout Europe, and they built their churches on top of their sacred locations. They tried to kill all the wise women off, so the people had nowhere else to go than to talk to priests, and all this propaganda by making the Satan look like Pan and other Europe, the Green Man and stuff like that. All that propaganda was going on at the same time, and the Germans were just for a very long time they kept trying to keep them down, and of course we've seen it continue after the Reformation. I mean, just think of the 20th century. The
Yeah.
the English and of course the power of the Vatican really did move into Britain after, right? Because keep in mind, all those European nobles can trace their lineage back to Transylvania via Babylon, right? Even the German princes, but they were clearly on the out, and they've been on the out ever since. But that's where the word barbarian was shifted from simply the bearded people. I refer to the Berbers, which are still in Africa, is where the word barbarian comes from. The Berberians,
Interesting.
the bearded ones.
Yeah. Okay.
Ladies yelling at me. All right.
Interesting.
All righty, fine. I'll go back to the comic books.
Ezra Miller needs to be put away for a very
Yeah,
long time, and Warner Brothers, you need to fire him yesterday.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
care about how much money you've sunk into it. That's your problem. Do better at casting, I guess.
Lady
But
really
he needs to
doesn't
go.
like history.
She's not a fan.
Not a fan. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on though, because I do have some interesting things to talk about. So go ahead.
Denise Gao reveals her
Go, I
Star
would say.
Wars character in Andor is surrounded by, oh, what a surprise, inept men that are lazy, slouching, kind of corner cutting boys.
Okay. Um,
Yay, we've never seen this before in Star Wars for the last decade.
yeah. Well, I put this in here because, as you saw, my tagline today is method acting, right? And a lot of method actors, there's plenty of great actors who don't do that silly Russian acting technique, right? Method acting is Russian, just so you know. But and they're amazing. But then you have this group that do the method acting, and they're always the most horrible, just insufferable actors you'll ever run into, right? Because they're always in character. And I'm kind of implying that Ezra is deluded himself into believing he is the Flash, right? And has power. He's a superhero, right? And this
That,
lady,
that sounds like it.
it does. And this lady seems to be doing the same, right? Because she's talking about this character, which in Andor, which no one here expects to be any good. This is the character, and she's going on about how she works for the what is it, the ISA or I forget what but it's like the spy agency of the Empire, I guess. But she she's a woman and she's surrounded by inept people, but she's climbing the ranks and she's got to find this Andor because she has to work 10 times more than anybody else because she's a woman, just like today. And it's like, Jesus Christ, women have always been privileged, and they're more privileged now than they've ever been in the history of Earth. And that's a big statement, right? But oh my
True.
God, dude, she is so deluded that she seems to think she is her character the way she's talking. This is a character, right? But she's
Yeah.
so excited. She gets to play this character and to show up them men. And you do realize you're the bad guy, bitch. Wow, dude. Wow.
This is disappointing because I will say the one new film that I did like was Rogue One, and the same people that made it are making this.
That's one
Yeah,
of the biggest problems with Disney Wars. Um, they don't understand why people like the Empire, but all fans. So like, here's what I'm talking about. Say you play SWOTOR, right? You say Star Wars: The Old Republic, the MMO. You can play as the Empire, which obviously it's a different Empire, blah blah, blah, but it's the Empire. You can play as the Empire, and most players played as the Empire for a very long time
mhm.
because there's something very cool about the Empire, the way they move, their aesthetic, da 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 da. Plus,
Well, and
Darth
if you
Vader is,
read the other
Darth
book,
Vader.
the after books, the emperor was technically correct.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which this Emperor has very similar motivation. But that's neither here nor there. My point is, there's a reason people like the Empire, and a lot of it is simply just that they're cool. Right? They have really cool aesthetics. The red lightsabers are cool. Darth Vader's the coolest villain of all time. Uh, things like that. This woman right here, there's nothing cool about her. There's nothing cool about that type of character, that type of snarky, bitchy, da 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 da.
Yeah,
There's a
well,
place for that type of character, of course,
girl
but
boss.
it's not. Yes, it's not one that is resonant to the audience of any audience, men or women, by the way. As much as women on like Twitter, and I say that word as loosely as possible, uh, pretend that they love girl boss bullshit. Every woman I know hates it.
Mhm.
Hates it. They find
Yeah.
it insulting and
Well,
infuriating.
because they have sons and husbands
Yes.
they love. Yeah.
Yes.
Which is you're
And
not
Yeah.
supposed to do these days. Yeah.
it
But
you're not, like you said, that's not even villainous. It's monstrous
it is
to be that.
monstrous. But listen to what she says now. She's talking about a character. Can you see the delusion here? When we meet her, she's working for the ISB, and she's so proud to be doing that. But she's surrounded by what she considers to be quite inept men, mostly. Well, no, all men, really. And they seem to be missing what she can see.
Mhm.
Right.
All right, this is a character, lady. But as you see, it's not. She's talking about herself. I think for Deidre, she
Right.
is super ambitious. So I don't think you could ever have considered that if Deidre had used her powers for good. And once again, she's playing a villain, but she's trying to make herself look good. I don't think she would have ever gone down that route. Okay. She wants to be part of the most powerful organization in the world. So the way to do this is to prove yourself by doing something that somebody else isn't doing, and that is catching Cassian Andor, or at least putting everything together so that she can make the ISB really aware of this person. Well, now once again, here's another series where a woman is chasing a man, just like with the Obi-Wan, right? Interesting. Okay. Um,
It's just formulaic at this point. It's the same show over and over and over and over. You know how they could have easily saved the sequel trilogy? Easily, genuinely. Very easily. Well, besides the shit with Luke. First, don't do that.
No, don't do
Don't do
that.
that.
Yeah.
But the easiest way to save the sequel trilogy would have been to have Rey be the bad guy by the end. It would have saved the
Yeah.
whole thing if
Yeah.
she would
Oh
have
yeah.
went to the dark side and Kylo would have flipped back to the good side to try to stop her.
Maybe.
But they
Or
didn't do
Finn.
that
I would have chose
because,
Finn to
or
take them
Finn would
both
even been
out. Yeah.
better. Actually, that's
Yeah.
correct. I
But
think
maybe.
Finn. I think you could have had both do it. In fact, both would
Well,
have flipped
if
over.
they did it right, Ray could have been a cool character if in any way if they just done it right.
But they didn't
But they didn't.
from Jump
They
Street.
didn't because
So they
it's
should have had
J.J.
her turn.
Abrams, and we're going to deal with that fucker here in a minute. By the way.
But my
Uh,
point is this is the problem. It's because they're stuck in this formula, this weird feminist bullshit formula where men have to be stupid and talked down to or betray all of their character growth for the last 40 years because we can't show the men be competent and strong. They must be weak and ineffectual because they don't know how to write strong, competent women. They just write them as men without bravado, basically,
Right.
or
right.
without
Basically.
machismo.
Yeah.
And it's just like, no. First of all, Star Wars has never had a problem with weak females.
Never.
Leia was
Right.
never
Yeah.
weak, ever.
No, definitely not. Yeah. But I mean that but the it's broken, and this is a good insight. Yeah, I think that's why I wanted to read this article out. And oh yeah, I had someone say, Chester, you're a professor. You shouldn't be so foul mouthed. Have you ever met a fucking professor before?
True.
They're like goddamn sailors, dude.
They are.
Yeah, most professors I know were foulest as could be.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Yep. And I'm off the clock, bitches. Hmm.
That's true.
That's right.
That's factual.
That's right. I'm not in a classroom. I don't got a bunch of kids around me. Trust me, I don't talk like this around the kids, obviously.
Yeah, that is one thing. That is a peeve of mine, man. It just tangent here. When I hear people just be very, 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 very foul mouthed around children.
No,
Like
I
I can
don't even
understand minor swear words occasionally, but come on, man. Calm down.
I
Control
don't even
yourself.
do it around women, although I know I have a bunch of women on my channel. I don't know how I have so many women on my channel. Isn't that weird, Adrian?
It's a bit strange. It's always surprised me how many women actually watch this channel.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I
Well, and look at the participants in Drawn and Quartered.
oh
There's
yeah.
quite a few girls involved in
They
that.
do. And
I don't know.
they will line up and beat your asses if you pick on me.
Yeah.
That's right. But anyway, let's continue with this because I think it's really interesting. She's surrounded by lazy, slouching, kind of corner cutting boys, and she doesn't like it. So she's going to climb the ranks at whatever cost to everyone else. I think also what I love is that what's really conflicting about Deidre is that it's a new thing. It isn't it to have a woman in this world in this part. Really?
No.
Didn't we just have the exact same character in the movie
Exactly.
Absurdity.
monster? So a part of
Exactly
you,
the
and
character.
I know and I know that for a lot of women, watch it. When they watch it, they'll be like, "Oh my God, go sister! You're doing so well." Then you have to remember, oh, she's a fascist. Mhm. So your son, are on the one
No,
hand,
the whole point, sweetheart, is yes, that behavior is fascistic. That's why you're a monster.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
that's it. You dumb bitch.
It's
I'm
so funny.
sorry, but Jesus.
She is particularly dumb, and she looks like Ellen DeGeneres, which is
Mm.
not a good thing. So you're
Oh,
sort of on the one hand, you want a woman in a man's world to succeed, but it's like, no, it's the wrong world, though. We don't want that. She should make you feel slightly uncomfortable at your alliances. Uh-huh. Okay. And what is, she had some other thing. She is a
I feel
true.
like she's telling us more about herself than
I
she is
That's why
character.
I put method acting in there. Delusion. But she continues. She is a true believer. She's a really hardcore advocate for the ISB. She is relentless. She is inspired. She has deep insight into what the rebellion might be thinking and what they might be doing next, anticipating their behaviors. Okay. Hmm.
oh
Uh,
boy.
uh, She's fighting her way up through a male-dominant organization in a pivotal role. She's ruthless, she's fearless, intelligent, and she's uncompromising. She will do anything for the cause, and so much of the time she's looking around feeling like a lot of her colleagues are very mediocre. For me, although she's on the side of the villain, she's always in. Really? She's evangelical in her belief in the Empire. And in common with all great villains, she has the absolute belief that what she's doing is right. Well, that's fair. No matter what she does, and does some seriously reprehensible things. Yeah, get them men. Get them men.
This is
Right?
literally the plot of the last Star Wars Battlefront story.
I
Yeah.
know. I know.
Literally
But
the
Nothing
same
new.
character.
it gets better, Thundero.
Oh, I
Yeah.
bet.
Go made it clear the show would also address gender politics.
Oh boy.
And she
Which
noted it's
gender?
really relevant to the show. The show's all about gender politics. As a
You
woman
don't
in that world, for her to advance in any way, she has to be like 10 times better than anyone else in that room. And that felt really relevant to everything we're going to do through right now. We're going through right
another
now.
great
Trump!
example
Am I right?
right there.
Trump!
Right there.
Did you
Go
hear it?
down. Scroll down. Right there. The leader of the damn rebellion has always been a woman.
Yeah, I know.
What are we talking about with this Star Wars needs more strong women. What are you
We're
on
talking
about?
about people that don't know anything about actual Star Wars. That's what we're talking about now.
And Lucas
Yeah.
was able to create Mon Mothma. You almost never. She's barely even in the movies, but she's in
But
command.
you remember her. Yeah.
Yep.
No, and then of
And
course,
she commands like a woman would command. She doesn't
yeah.
come off like a dude.
Well,
She's feminine and
uh,
powerful.
did we forget Padme?
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
if we forgot Leia, I don't know what she's talking about.
Preposterous.
But
Man.
but do you hear it? Can you see it?
Yeah.
Can you see this freaking just preaching from the Trump derangement syndrome of this woman? Can you see it? It's
right
and
there.
of course it's this just means it's going to be shit. It's going to be pure
Yeah.
shit.
Horrible. Yeah.
Yeah.
From beginning to end.
What a shame.
It is kind of a shame because I like the idea of characters, excuse me, that are evangelical for the Empire. That's a cool idea.
Sure.
Like I
Well,
like that.
Vader
But
is exactly that.
yes, but they're
Right.
going to wrap it up in all this nonsense. And here's my overarching
Vader
point.
and your archaic religion.
If you are some sort of hacktivist, that's what they really are, for gender politics, you do not get to be until you can define for me in one sentence what a woman is.
You're right, Josh. Yeah.
If you cannot define in one sentence what a woman is, and not just
Mm.
subjectively, objectively, what a woman is,
I
then
can.
you do not get to be
I
any kind of advocate for any sort of gender
I
politics, positive or negative.
I can do it in one sentence.
That's it.
Potentially has a uterus.
Potentially.
Potentially. That's good. I like that. Nice, nice.
I got one even better for you, Chester. Ready?
Hmm.
Genetically has a uterus.
Oh yeah. Well, fine. Be more specific.
Huh.
It's just
I was
so
trying to feel for
frustrating.
the ladies that have lost them. You know.
Yes. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, they still genetically have one, even if theirs is messed up in some way. It's so frustrating to hear these people drone on about how hard it is to be a woman and they got to work so much harder. That
It's
is
ridiculous.
so
It's so
utterly
ridiculous, dude.
absurd.
Women are in extreme privilege in the Western world right now. They
Not
have
even
to work less, actually.
Not even
exactly. It's
close.
so not even debatable.
Yeah.
Like that, you have to be in such a level of delusion of self masturbatory delusion to think that that's the case.
But you know,
This idea that somehow women are not literally propped up in pretty much every major workforce in this country right now, or even in the West right now. What world are you in?
yeah, no.
It's
And
it's just a complete lie.
you know, we men do have an advantage though. We do. We do.
We're better at everything.
Well, no,
Oh,
in all seriousness, we do have an advantage, and I mean white heterosexual men, right?
that's right.
Because we know coming right out of the gate, there's no one advocating for us,
That's
nobody,
true.
and we know
They're not
this,
even
and
allowed
we
to.
don't anticipate it, we don't expect it, and we don't lean on it.
Yeah,
In a way, that is an advantage.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not even permitted to. If you
No,
come out as
you're
that
not. You're not. Yeah.
that is your thing, then you're immediately branded as a
You
Nazi and
are you're under
destroyed.
struggle, but we know this immediately. We know this, and I agree with you, Adrian. I was kind of hoping this would be fun.
Yeah.
I rather liked a Rogue One. It's the best of what Disney has done anyway. Although the Mandalorian
Sure.
had some good points, but I thought it could be cool. But no, a lady's
Yeah.
yelling at me again. God damn it!
Uh-oh.
I've lost all interest that I had in even giving it a shot. You know.
Yeah, lady, what have I said incorrectly?
Uh-oh.
Hmm?
What have you done?
Hmm? Oh no, I shall push back, ma'am. Anyway, but I just it's so outrageous and she's so comfortable in saying such outrageous things. She's so comfortable, right? It's just not pure nonsense pouring out of her mouth,
Oh
and
yeah.
she's so comfortable with it, right? This is comic books. I'll bring up Star Wars comic books in a second. Don't you make me. I love you too. Yes, but anyway, I know that's two bangers in a row, but I do have a fun one. I have a really good one. You guys want to have some happy news? You ready? You ready?
Constantine sequel with Keanu Reeves and director Francis Lawrence officially announced by Warner Brothers. That is good news.
Now,
Now, that movie is not Constantine, but what that movie is still pretty cool.
yeah, no, I love the Keanu Reeves one, and it's not Constantine. You're right. It's certainly not. However, this headline, I didn't even read the body of the article because I don't need to. I already know what this story's about. So I just put this up because it looks good on the screen. But here's the deal with this Constantine sequel. Now, you got to understand, J.J. Abrams has been trying to get a Constantine thing off the ground for quite a while, right? And
Yeah.
he finally got his fingers in a little bit with the Sandman there by putting in Justina Constantine, right? And making it a
Yeah.
female, right? But he really wanted to do this. He shelved this. He had control of it. He wouldn't let anybody touch it. They weren't going to do this stupid Keanu Reeves thing. They weren't going to do some stupid man thing. They were going to do his female Constantine. He's been pushing her for years. It's one of the big things on his list. Keep that in mind. Now, he's gotten way too many things on his list anyway, but this was a big one. And he's kept this thing. That's why you haven't seen anything, because he's kept this thing locked down. Well, JJ is out, baby. He's out. What do you call Zaslav there?
Fantastic.
Axlov? Yeah, that guy. He came in. Now, JJ and his bad robot still must be attached to it. So they do have producer credit, but they have zero to do with it. Beyond the credit, they have nothing to do with this. And therefore, we getting fricking Keanu back. We're getting Constantine movie. It's not the real Constantine, but that would be Constantine anyway. Let's be honest. But we're getting Constantine back, and it's but made by the exact same people who made the first movie. Not only the producers, the writers, and the director. We're getting everybody back because this is one of my guilty pleasures, dude. I love this movie, right? And
I like
and,
this movie too.
yeah, and Zaslav kicked that fucking Abrams to the corner, dude. Thank God. Finally, just ripped it away from him and says, "Nope, nope, you have nothing to do with this. We're going to do it," because Zaslav probably loved this movie too. This is awesome freaking news, dude.
It's good news. Yeah, definitely.
The only problem I have with it, and hear me out, is Keanu.
Hmm.
My problem with Keanu is my boy needs to get himself back in better shape because he's
Yeah,
gotten a
he
little
is.
sloppy in the last few years. I
Yeah,
get it, he's
I'd
older
agree.
now,
He is.
but he's also got money and access to substances to help him with his lower testosterone. Um, he just that's going to be the only issue. Can he still pull this role off? We'll
Well,
see. Hopefully,
he's
we'll
going to be
see.
playing a much older Constantine. So, I mean, does he need to be action hero-y?
He's going to need to be to some degree, I would assume.
Some.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying, but I'm not really concerned about that at all. Um, I'm just happy that they got the whole team back together. Everyone's happy to be involved, and Abrams is it finally dug it out from the tick that is J.J. Abrams, because that guy, dude. But this is showing me that Zaslav, because he's canceled a lot of J.J. stuff. Zaslav has no patience for J.J. Abrams. That makes me love
He
him.
seems to not be up very very happy with JJ's results. Let's just say that.
They're bad. Yeah, they're bad.
Well,
Right. Yeah. But this is great news to me. This makes me very very happy, and I hope that they put a funds to look at it and that look at them, the original team back together, having some fun, dude. Oh my God, dude, it's gonna be awesome. I hope it's awesome. You never know; it could be an absolute flop. But they do have the original team back together. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and I don't know what their plan is in the storytelling, and hopefully they'll do a good one. They don't show him here, and that's a mistake. Who put this together? Augustine, mistake, because that is the best devil ever on screen, right there. He That
Very
is the
interesting.
best.
Um,
So awesome, dude.
remember how we were talking about blondes earlier?
Yeah.
There's another one that got replaced
True.
by these dark hairs. Sick of it.
yeah,
No, I 100% agree this is not Constantine. I would never argue that. I'm just saying I did love this movie. I
Yeah,
know
I
it's
did too.
not Constantine, and we got plenty of great animated stuff, and that series, live action series, wasn't bad. But as far as this particular movie, I'm very happy to have a sequel.
Yep.
And with the original team, because they captured lightning in the bottle with that movie, right? And I'm hoping that they can recapture or rekindle some of it. You know, um, I'm just happy that finally they've pried J.J. Abrams' fingers off of it. Really.
yeah,
Yeah.
So and to be fair, he did get his female Constantine, didn't he? She was in the Sandman, and she was a bitch.
Uh,
Of course, she was. But that was a absolute failure, unfortunately. And even though Neil Gaiman was involved in it, I just think he's got too long in the tooth, dude. But anyway, I know for everyone this isn't necessarily that big a deal, but I'm happy. I'm happy because this is my favorite Keanu Reeves movie. What is yours, Adrian?
Keanu Reeves movie,
Yeah,
The Matrix.
the original. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah.
first one. I don't believe there are two other Matrix movies.
No, you're
Just
right. There's only one. That's true. And
no,
though there's
no,
also like an Animatrix.
that's
That
right.
is viable.
that's not bad, but
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves isn't in that
No,
really.
that's true.
So,
That is true. That is true. What?
no, The Matrix is easily like my favorite film of his, and that's saying a lot because I like a lot of his films. Like,
Hmm.
but I went and saw that opening night before it was a popular film. There was me and two other people in the theater, and they were a couple, and they made out half the movie and left.
Oh yeah, no, I took my baby daughter to see it with my wife, and I remember seeing it. It was great. But
Yeah,
it's probably 5 or 6 for me though. How about you, Thundero? What's your favorite?
The first John Wick.
The first John?
It's a
Yeah,
good
no,
first.
John Wick. Probably two. The John Wicks
Here's
are
why.
fun.
Here's why for me is because I needed that movie.
Hmm.
It for so long we didn't have a movie like that. A good one. There was
Oh yeah,
junk ones out
it
there,
was fun.
but a
Yeah.
good one that had a very simple story, one that pretty much everybody could understand unless there's something wrong with you mentally or emotionally,
Hmm.
and it just nailed it went for an aesthetic and it nailed it. And that is what we needed in Hollywood at our level, at the R rating level, for a very long time. Because for years before John Wick and Deadpool, they had been saying, "Oh, you can't make money with R-rated movies anymore. That's why you don't see them."
Yeah, bullshit.
And then they happened, and they made a lot
Yeah.
of money, and that changed the game big time. I don't think you get a Joker movie without John Wick. I don't think you get a lot of stuff without John Wick being successful.
Yeah.
So it also had the I like the storytelling in it. I like the world building in it. There's just so many facets that it does exceptionally well. And the other thing that it did is it pushed Keanu to try again because his career had, nosedived for a long time. He just didn't care. It was obvious. And in that movie he was pushed as a
Well,
performer,
yeah.
and it was very apparent, and that
Yeah,
was
no,
good.
that's true. And he just doesn't care about money. It's
No,
clear.
he doesn't.
That
Yeah.
that's not his motivation. But I
I
just
agree.
want to sit here and look at his list and take a look at how would I rate stuff. Youngblood is a weird little forgotten movie, actually. Let's see here. The River's Edge, nah, nah. Babes in Toyland, no, 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 no. Okay, let's keep going up here. Bill and Ted, I that's very low on my list. I never care for that movie, but I know a lot of people love it though. Point Break.
It's right.
Point Break is pretty high on my list, I think, but that's simply because of Patrick Swayze, I would say. But
Yeah.
he did play it well though. I know women love My Private Idaho. Idaho.
Yeah.
Uh, the guy, God, he was awful in Dracula. My God, let's not don't look at it. Don't look at it. Speed, it's a good movie, dude.
Speed's good.
So
Good.
speed's up there pretty high for me too, but
Yeah.
I still the Matrix for me is so the reason the Matrix for me is my top favorite and John Wick is not is because I for a long time have been into cyberpunk stuff,
Sure.
and that was really the first movie that really captured cyberpunk aesthetic of its
I
time
agree. Mhm.
since Blade Runner, pretty
Yeah.
much.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Johnny
Matrix is a good
Mnemonic
movie, dude.
tried to capture that style, but it missed it. It
It
missed it
failed.
by
Yeah.
like a bit. I still like that
It's
movie,
still
but
fun. Yeah, that's true.
yeah, but
I
The
would say
Matrix hit a point in like remember they almost banned that movie because of Columbine. Like all this stuff
All right.
in the zeitgeist, the Matrix hit that zeitgeist of the time so well. It's hard to explain unless you were living at that time with
between
it.
Yeah.
95 to like 2002, the zeitgeist was the world is a lie. Every movie or every like one like the cult movies, the movies with these big followings even still today, like The
Yeah.
Matrix, like Fight Club, uh
Yep.
Night City, like all these movies were basically the same overall premise. The world was a lie.
Spoilers.
Yeah. And yeah, for those 25-year-old movies. Um but that was a very interesting because you would think we were coming up to a new millennium. And yes, there was a lot of that too, but you would think it'd be more focused on that, but it wasn't.
Well, you have to remember you had Y2K going on at that time
Yep.
too.
Yep.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Even
That is true.
another
Yeah.
movie up here that we have that is about a world being a lie, The Devil's Advocate.
Yeah.
Another
Which is a
fantastic Keanu.
Very
fantastic
good
movie.
movie.
But
That's true.
once again, Al Pacino.
Yeah.
But he does a fair job with it. He does a good job. I like Johnny Mnemonic too, although it's not really a great movie. But if you, it's interesting because we being men are skipping over these chick flicks. But he covers both
Oh no,
dynamics, doesn't he? Right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
The action
He
hero
has
and the love story guy. Yeah.
my wife loves Keanu Reeves. It's like part of the reason I think she dated me was because I have a similar look to him. I don't know.
No, hey, fair enough. But I mean, much my own Private Idaho, big chick flick. Much Ado About Nothing, big chick flick. But
Yeah.
he's been in a lot of them. But Speed is a big movie, very big movie. Devil's Advocate, very good movie. Matrix, iconic movie. Um, The Replacement, the what? No, no, no. The Watcher is an interesting little movie, though. Animatrix. We don't need to talk about these other ones. Let's see here. Constantine, love it. Scanner Darkly, interesting movie, right?
I actually like that. I like that movie too.
Yeah. The Day the Earth Stood Still, another interesting movie. Um, this is not a good movie. 47 Ronin. I know people love to hate on the movie, but he actually does a fair job in it. It's one of his better acting roles, oddly enough, right? John Wick.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, no, it's a goofy, very colorful, which is weird for Japan, but it's very colorful. But he does a pretty fair job, and it makes a lot of sense because people got mad. It's like, well, 47 Ronin has nothing to do with Keanu Reeves, and of course you're right. But the way they portrayed it is through his eyes, and he is half Asian. And the
Yeah, yeah.
character he plays is perfect for what the story is telling. We're seeing it through his eyes of what happened, what that famous Japanese event. John
But
Wick, big hit.
it has fantasy elements, correct?
It does, yeah, it does,
Okay.
yeah. But I mean, it's not a great movie, but it's fine. It's a good popcorn flick, and he
Yeah,
actually does a fair acting job in it, actually, because that's
I'm sure he does.
Keanu's problem, right? Let's see here. Yeah, I haven't seen that. Of course, we have more John Wick coming. Let's see.
Oh, remember there was a time where they were looking at him to be Spike in a Cowboy Bebop film.
And they should have done that. They should have jumped on that early because he would have been good Spike.
Oh
I'll
yeah,
tell you right
Yeah.
now, his best acting performance to date is Cyberpunk 2077. Genuinely, he is
I've
very
heard
good.
this.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, 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 yeah.
very, very good.
Wow, his
If you haven't
Berserker's
seen it,
already in production. Damn, you go,
good,
kid.
Yeah,
good.
it is.
No,
All
it's
right.
good. He's getting a little bit of a career renaissance thanks to the John Wick
Yeah,
success, and he deserves it. He's one of the few people in Hollywood who does deserve it because he's just a genuinely good
he's a good
man.
man. Yeah, but it's interesting because he's got a lot of mediocre and some even bad stuff in there. But this dude's been on the involved in some really big films, not just action ones, but also romantic comedy stuff or romantic films. He covers both sides, right? Really,
I
really
mean,
well.
I would say if you work that much in film, you're probably not gonna hit it out of the ballpark every time. So
No, of course not. And he is limited in his acting ability. He's not the greatest actor, but he does have presence, which is when this pulls off, it works really well. But he is kind of
Yeah, Alan,
unique. He does fall into that kind of Patrick Swayze category because most of
very
your
much so.
actors, well, yeah, right, because they're either action heroes or they're romantic comedy guys. But he can do both. It's interesting.
Yeah, it is. It
well,
is strange how he has been able to do both.
Yeah,
the reality is the dirty little secret of being a star, a star. I know my voice gave out there. Being a star is that you have to be a star. And if you have
yeah.
that star power, it doesn't matter if you can act. It just doesn't. They can work around it. They've done it. Like, I mean, look at the early Arnold Schwarzenegger movies. The man couldn't even speak.
No,
Couldn't even speak
no.
English, and
Yeah,
they
yeah,
still
it's
made him
true.
a star,
But he was a
a huge
Yeah,
presence.
star.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
So if you
keep in
have it,
mind, well,
that's all
Conan
it
was
takes.
very early, right?
Yes.
very.
His first
Yeah.
movie they had to dub over because he couldn't speak English.
Yeah, Hercules in New
Uh,
York. Yeah.
Yeah.
and
But
Keanu has it. Like, look at these posters. He has it. Even with him and Swayze together, my eyes drawn to Keanu first. Now that might just because he's in the front, but still, I think he even has more it than Swayze did. He just
oh no, I,
he
I
has.
I would agree with that. But Swayze was a better actor. But
Oh yeah,
people forget
Yeah.
Point Break. That was a really solid movie, dude.
good,
Right?
good
Oh,
movie.
I
And
love
the
that. I love that
remake,
movie.
someone should be slapped right in the balls, dude.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
come on.
My
How
favorite
many
part
people?
about Point Blank is it it brought us Hot Fuzz.
it did, yeah, yeah. Point Break, yeah. But whatever. Yeah, no, you go, Keanu. But it's just I'm very happy with this news, and I'll move on. But
Me too. I'm happy for it too. Hopefully, it's good. I
yeah.
do like Constantine. If I had to rate my favorite overall. I still say John Wick. Matrix is probably number two.
Hmm.
Uh, The Devil's Advocate is probably number three. It's one of his best performances, and it's one of Pacino's best performances too.
It is great. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and they're very similar kind of movies in a way because they have a very similar undercurrent of intrigue and lies,
Hmm.
and the world is not what it seems type stuff. So
Yeah.
he plays that. He's in that a lot though. Like he's even the Scanner Darkly is Christ, the whole thing. Alex Jones is in that
It's,
movie for crying out loud.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. Johnny
it's
Mnemonic the same way. Like it's all.
yeah, I think maybe Keanu might be a little smarter than he lets on. Let's put it that way. Might just
Oh,
be a little
he's a lot smarter guy than what people give him credit for.
Well, I never thought he was dumb. I just don't think he has really strong acting chops. But when he finds a film where he can find his groove, he's good. But absolutely. Well, let's move on though, because we do have some other interesting stories to get to. And this one here, I don't think this is happy.
Daredevil Born Again will ignore previous series lore, according to actor Charlie Cox. Well,
Well, according to Kevin Feige, actually, right?
Of course, Mr. Cox and Mr. Feige. Of course, that's what was going to happen. What
Well,
did you think Disney was going to do, people?
this is a
This is what
problem.
they do.
Let me explain what Charlie has said here. Okay. Um, he is happy to be doing more of Daredevil. He does love the character, right?
Mhm.
He knows that this is zero continuation. It's completely season one restart. It's a reboot. He knows this much, and that because Kevin Feige told him that.
Yep.
Uh, Beyond that, he knows nothing. He has no script. He has no information. He has no idea. All he knows is that Daredevil is being completely rebooted and he's been brought in. That's all he knows. And here's the reality I think that's going to slap us all in the head. I don't think Charlie will be around very often, very long. I have a feeling they're going to bring him in, they're going to kill him off, and they're going to bring in an Elektra Daredevil. I'm serious, dude.
I almost guarantee that's the plan.
Yeah.
It's Disney, guys. The root problem has always been the mouse. The mouse is the enemy. Michael Mouse is the enemy. And until more people realize that and stop pretending like they're going to bring in Charlie, it's going to be great. No.
No,
No, no.
no,
No. Their plan was to bring him in and to destroy him, just like they did Luke Skywalker.
probably.
Anybody who thinks that wasn't intentional is an idiot. I don't
Yeah.
care how smart you think you are. If you cannot, obviously, they brought Ryan Johnson in as a hatchet man. They knew what they were doing. It was intentional
Yeah.
from Jump Street. They
Yeah.
needed to destroy the male heroes of Star Wars. Luke and Han both had to be disgraced and destroyed,
Hmm.
and they were in succession. Well, Han first, but still, that needed to happen. The fact that they did it and now they throw crumbs later about, oh, look, young Luke doing cool shit, which granted was cool, it doesn't take it away. It's not like until they I've said it before, I'll say it again. I don't care about anything Disney does. I don't give a shit about how good it is until they fix Luke Skywalker and literally apologize to me and every fan for what they did. And they're never going to do that. So I don't
Yeah.
care what they do. I'm
Well,
done with
yeah,
it.
no, and I think there's because we've been talking about it, and yeah, about the Daredevil has been replaced in the comic book, and it's Elektra. And everyone's like, "It's okay, Chester. It's just temporary, dude, dude, dude."
Nothing's temporary with these people.
No. And when I was reading this article, and Charlie said that other than Kevin Feige tell him it's a complete reboot, but he has no script, he has no way, he has nothing, he has zero information other than he's in it. That's all he
Yep.
has. He's clearly, if you read the article, you can almost hear his voice in your head. He's optimistic. He's excited. And I'm like, dude, you never know. We could be wrong because he was the most popular thing to come out of those Netflix series, him and D'Onofrio. But look what they've already done to D'Onofrio. Look what they did. They cucked him. They cucked
Yep.
him right out. One of the
They
best
did.
actors in the world, and you cucked him out. He was a
Yep.
freaking embodiment of Kingpin, and you cucked him out. Look what they did to Kingpin.
And
Yeah.
people are gonna here's gonna be the cope. But Daredevil was cool in the Spider-Man movie. Yep, because that was a Sony movie.
Yeah, it's Sony. Yeah, it's
Simple,
not
simple
Disney.
as that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Disney is going to destroy Charlie Cox as Daredevil. They're
Yeah.
going to destroy it. If you love that character, you loved that show, you loved him as the character, you might as well just prepare for the heartbreak and order the roses because they're
Well,
gonna kill him.
no, they're going to do something to him, but keep in mind here, we did get a little bit of a kind of cameo from him in this silly ass She-Hulk thing.
Yep.
There's his mask. Why does She-Hulk have it?
I don't know
Mm, yeah,
because
and because as soon as they cucked this D'Onofrio out, he's the perfect freaking Kingpin. As soon as they cucked him out, I was like, yeah, it's done. It's done. Because that's just insane to do that. You should never have done that with Kingpin, but they did. So and this guy's what he put down was more than what Charlie put down. Not to be
oh yeah,
disrespectful, but Jesus,
he's Vincent D'Onofrio. He
Vincent
is
just
genuinely one of the best
murdered
actors.
it, dude. And they cuck.
Um,
He's useless now. They've cucked him right out. He's nothing, right?
I think people are kind of missing the point though. It doesn't matter if it's a reboot. That's fine. I don't have any problem with that. I understand why
Yeah,
they
that's
might
not
want
an
to do
issue
that.
at all. Yeah, yeah,
It's we know what they're going to do,
yeah.
guys.
I
They've
think
done
they.
it before. Why wouldn't they do it again?
Well, I think the comic book is showing us exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah, yeah. Which is basically what they did to Luke. Replaced him. Destroy him and replace him. That's what
Yeah,
they're gonna do. And if they'll do it to Luke fucking Skywalker, they'll do it to Daredevil.
yeah. No,
Simple as that.
no, Elrod. No one's defending Sony here, dude. We're just saying that there is a difference because
Yes.
there is. Yeah. But anyway, I just wanted to put that down and wait. Of course, I don't know, but neither does Charlie. And don't you think he would know something by now? No, he doesn't know
You would
anything.
think he'd
He's
know
not in the
at least
loop. He's not in
something.
any meetings. He's not being talked to. He is nothing. Nothing at all.
Sounds to me like he's not important.
It's
Yeah,
almost, yeah, yeah,
that
almost,
sounds a lot like that.
yeah. But anyway, let's move on. I brought this up here. Go ahead and read the headline.
God. Saints Row reboot physical sales drop a staggering 80% in the UK a mere week after it launched.
Okay.
Good. I wish it would have dropped to zero.
Well,
No more
Yeah.
sales. Just
I
stopped.
I put this in here for a very specific reason. And Grimlock, if you're listening, or if I don't, is he in here?
He's not.
He's not. Okay, maybe this will draw him. Last week we were talking to Grimlock, and he was very upset about this because he's a Saints Row guy. I've never played the game. Okay.
Yep.
And Ben and I both were talking to each other, and we were, to him, and he was going on about the wokeness of it. And, of course, Ben is not going to agree with that anyway. For me personally, I'm like, of course it had wokeness, but Ben and I both agreed it must have had mechanical issues, right? But I don't know. I felt bad. I don't know. I felt like we were teaming up on Grimlock or something. So I actually took the time to go and go and research what's going on at Saints Row. I watched a bunch of reviews and I looked at a whole bunch of stuff to see what's going on with it. And I thought that I would exonerate Grimlock because he's 100% right. 100%. And I'll just tell you what I found in my research of this Saints Row. Because keep in mind, I've never played the game. I don't know this game. However, these are the issues. I wish Grimlock was here, but these are the issues. As far as what Ben and I said, there must be mechanical issues for it to be so widespread anger and chaos, and there are. The game is absolutely unplayable. It's just broken 100% altogether. You know how when Cyberpunk came out, people were upset. That's a
Yeah.
freaking polished, spectacular game in comparison. It's
Funny thing
unplayable.
about that is sales have gone up now.
Well, they have improved it, but it's this constant problem with these AAA titles putting companies putting out these unfinished games. It's ridiculous and it needs to stop. And the way it stops is us not spending our money on these jackasses, right? And I'll get to that in a minute, Roger. Because the indie people, At least they're honest. Like, hey, we're going to put out this beta or this alpha, and it's not finished, but come and join us and enjoy it and help support us financially. And here's our roadmap. And some of those people are not getting to the roadmap, but the majority of them are actually pretty good about sticking to the roadmap. And indie gaming is really where you should be. Stay away from these AAA assholes. Just stay away from them because
Oh yeah.
it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, dude. But now, with that said, because Ben and I knew there must have been something mechanical, and it's radically bad, right? But on Grimlock's point, he's right because the problem with it is from I watched a bunch of different videos and people's opinions kind of across the spectrum, and they all agreed. And this is what I see as the problem. The original Saint Row characters that the saints that you're dealing with, um, they are psychopaths,
Yes.
and they're happy to be so, and they're well aware of it, right?
Yeah.
And that's what a Saints Row game is. You are a full-on gangster criminal. You're a horrible human being, right? In this game, they made their saints a bunch of yuppies. I guess that's not the word. What's the word? Hipster? I see.
Hipster.
They're a bunch of hipsters, and they're trying to pay off their student loans, of course, right? And they're the most candy ass thing you've ever seen in the conversations. Then they're talking about woke shit constantly in the game, and you can't even skip past it, right? But yet, even though they're candy ass and milk toast in their cutscenes, you're out murdering the world. It doesn't gel, dude, right? And it is ultra woke, ultra woke. So that is also a problem. The fact that they took a lot of features away that you've always been able to do in Saint Rose games, like for instance, just going to a store and stealing from it. You can't even do that anymore, right? But they've taken a lot of stuff away, and all the various modes don't work. The game is absolutely broken. It's like it's not even a room level situation where it's so bad it's good. It's just bad. And then on top of it, it's just woke and they're preaching to you constantly. Um, it's like, wow. I mean, wow, wow. So Grimlock was right. The wokeness is irritating everyone, even people that are woke, right? Because it's so over the top, and I don't understand it. This is a very popular series, and this is the fifth one,
Used to
right?
be.
Right. And how could you possibly put out such bad crap? And the worst part of it is this: the creators, the devs, are still to this very moment calling the people who don't like the bad mechanics racist. The same crap we're seeing. They're just constantly yelling and blaming the fans, right?
Yeah.
And even though the game is very woke, you could take that away 100%. Don't even talk about it. It's unplayably broken. It's that buggy. It's janky. 100% janky. You can't even finish missions. You can't do missions. The boss battle in the game, the final boss battle, is completely bugged out. No one can finish the game. Nobody, right? But yet they're sitting there. You're just a bunch of racists. You're haters. It's
Yes,
insane, dude.
the answer when they start doing that stuff is, but yes, we hate you. We hate what you've done. We hate the thing you've made, and we hate you as people for behaving this way in response to how we hate the thing you've made.
Yeah.
Right.
Just give them what they want because they're never. It doesn't matter what you say to them. There's no logic in them. This is complete emotional reaction from them. So just lay into them because you're not dealing with a person at that point. You're dealing with emotion.
Yeah.
A person can be logical and be like, yeah, they're mad at the game. Like in fairness to CD Projekt Red, they didn't make excuses when the game came out and it sucked. Very quickly, they were like, you know what, we screwed up. This was our fault. This was
Yeah,
don't
you're right.
the executive, the CEO or whatever he was, even came out, did a video and said, don't blame the devs. They worked really really hard. This isn't their fault. It's mine, which is exact words.
Yeah, and
And
Yep.
that's the only answer you can really give.
that's the correct answer. And they've spent the last 2 years polishing, fixing, adding, replacing things that need replaced. The game. They have their new expansion supposed to be coming out early next year, and they had the anime just come out, which was a huge success. So that is the correct way to do this. That is the correct way to handle it. The correct way is never to blame everybody else but you.
No,
Everybody.
the buck stops here, right?
Yes.
That's the what it should be. I have summoned a wild Grimlock, by the way.
He's been summoned.
Yes.
Called.
He says they were more concerned with telling their bullshit hipster story than making a functional game. Yep.
Yep.
They get what they fucking deserve. And Chester, I'm glad you see the light. Well, I brought it up because I looked into it, Grimlock. I went to go see because I figured, and Ben, of course, Ben is going to take a slightly different opinion on it, but I figured there must have been really bad mechanical problems, and I'm right. It's unplayable, but the woke thing is seriously bad.
It's a
Um,
poison pill.
it is a
When you
poison pill.
start
Yeah.
marketing that way, when you start, engaging with your audience that way, it turns off a humongous section, a majority of your audience. Now, some people can ignore it if the product is quality, right? We've all done that. We've all said it's fine. As long as you make really good content, we can probably ignore your political nonsense.
Yeah, sure.
Star Trek's a great example. I
The
obviously don't agree
the Game of
politically with
Thrones
everything.
spinoff being a perfect example.
Yep. I obviously don't agree with everything in Star Trek: The Next Generation, like their philosophy and
No,
their worldview and their politics, but that doesn't mean it's still not fantastic,
right.
right? It's still fantastic. So you can do it. You can put the political stuff in there and still make it good. The problem is when your marketing is political
Yeah,
and it instantly turns off. It's a poison pill. You've
it is.
poisoned your own well. And you only get one well when you're making a product. You get one. You don't get two, you get one. And once you poison that son of a bitch, you're done. It's over. There's no coming back. So that is what the Deep Silver has done. They've poisoned their own well by pandering to Twitter, basically, to woke idiots on Twitter, to hiring the wrong people who are focused, as Grimlock said, on the wrong things. And this is what you get. When your focus in making video games is not making the damn game,
Yeah.
it's making a point with the game. Show me the game where it's turned out well.
Yeah, no,
Show me.
you're right, 100%. And yeah, go ahead, Adrian.
No, I agree with him. I mean, it's absurd. Uh, time
Yeah.
and time again, it's been happening. They
Yeah.
still, time and time again, continue to repeat the same
Yep. And
mistakes.
is it working for them? It doesn't seem so, but they keep repeating it. So
They keep repeating the same thing over and over. So, like, I don't understand. I'm not a big Saints Row fan. I played a few of them. It wasn't my thing, but neither is like Grand Theft Auto, really. So
bye, lady. Yeah, no, I didn't play that either. I'm not into being the villain. I like to be the hero. So, and that's just my preference, whatever. So I didn't play I don't play these kind of villain games. But I'm sure my son does. Because both my children, they love the Joker, right?
yeah, yeah.
Where I love Superman. Yeah, and whatever. It is insane what they're doing with this, and for me, the woke things I understand is important, especially if you understand and played the game before, which now I understand from watching those videos and listening to fans of it talk about it. And it's despicable. But for me, the real major problem is it's freaking unplayable, dude. How
Yeah.
can you release a game that
Oh yeah.
bad?
I think it's
Later, lady.
atrocious. It's insulting. These companies continue to make games like this, and I will to CD Projekt Red credit, like Thundaro said, they handled it better than anybody I've seen in years.
Well,
Even
yeah,
with the anime bringing a resurgence to the gameplay, they've added things to the actual game that involve the like things from the anime. So like there's a character that dies, and that character's gun can be found in the very area that they die, is an example.
Oh yeah.
That dies in the anime.
Well, CD
That's
Projekt Red are
not
not woke tards though. What happened to them was freaking bureaucrats, businessmen,
bureaucrat.
right?
Yeah,
Well, bureaucrats, and they were listening to marketing
wrong
experts
people,
from the
Yeah.
very
West
much so.
who were pushing nonsensical far left
Right.
political
Yeah.
nonsense. And that's really what hurt that game. They focused on the wrong thing. The other thing that hurt the game was Keanu, and it wasn't Keanu's fault. It was just they wanted to the big star power. They wanted that, so they rewrote everything for him, and they just ran out of time because the bureaucrats were breathing down their neck.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but
But
they have fixed it a lot, and they did, like he said, they did the right thing. This company is doing all of the wrong things, and I wouldn't be surprised if this company's just plain gone by this time next year.
yeah, no, I
I
don't
mean,
think they're in a position to survive it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't either. I mean, I can't even think of really like. Okay, so this was the fifth one.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that they had 4 out.
Well, the
I
4
thought there
was
was.
the superhero one, right?
Basically,
Yeah. See, did it do well? Because
oh
I
yeah.
like I don't remember hearing anything about it. Like
Well,
I think it's a dead. It's a dead, and
No,
it's
but
really dead if they
doing
keep
well,
this
according to
this
everybody.
route. It's a dead franchise.
well, like I said, I watched a bunch of videos, and everyone seems to like the Saints Row the Third. That seems to be the popular
Yeah,
one.
third is the one that I've heard is the most popular.
Yeah. But anyway, I think I put this up here simply for Grimlock, but also to once again say, dude, just stay away from these AAA companies, dude. Go to the indies. There's so much amazing things going on there. And the simple fact of the matter was, we always go to AAA because of the polish, right? That's what the AAA brings. They spend tens of millions of dollars, right? And
Yeah.
it's the polish. But the thing is, there is no polish now. The AAA ain't giving you polish. They're giving you broken, janky shit. That's what they're giving you. The AAA guys
Yeah.
aren't giving you that, and they're honest
You
with you.
know, what was that one
The indie
game
guys.
where you're like running around as it's like robot dinosaurs and stuff? Horizon Dawn or something? Wasn't that a broken
Right.
game too?
I believe
Oh, I
so.
don't know.
Yeah.
I played it. I played it on PC well after it had
No,
launched, so I
not
don't
that.
know.
He's talking about the new one.
Yeah, I have no idea. Um,
But yeah, no, just
I
stay away
wouldn't be
from it, dude.
surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. And it's completely honestly it's the player's fault. It's gamers' fault. We
Oh yeah, yeah,
accepted
easily.
this mediocrity nonsense that it's okay if they have a giant day one patch. No, it isn't. That's not
No,
okay.
No,
it's
Would
not.
accept that in any other industry, and you know it. But for some reason, in video games, everybody's just been conditioned that it's okay. It's not okay.
Right.
They
Well,
should
I
be able to
blame.
release the damn game and release it in a working state. Simple as
Yeah.
that.
Well, I'm
yeah,
glad that you blame the gamers like they do, but me, I blame fucking Todd Howard.
Well, no, I don't blame the gamers because their
No, it's
games are
Todd
shit.
Howard's fault. It's 100%
I
Todd
blame
Howard's
the
fault.
gamers because they keep buying shit games and
Yeah,
making
no.
excuses for them.
Maybe
yeah.
this
I
game will
agree.
change that. Maybe this will change that. Maybe
I
people will
think
back up.
Cyberpunk largely changed it, to
I
be
hope
honest.
so, because there are
I know a
hundreds,
lot.
if not thousands, of indie games that are great. You don't need
Yep.
this shit, dude.
And
I
they're
agree.
great
I found a lot of indie games that are good in
Yeah.
recent years.
And especially with the Unreal Engine 5, this is going to shift the workload for these companies radically, dude. Because that's one of the main upgrades that Unreal Engine 5 does, is it allows it to be integrated and have your workers more quickly into development than ever before. And we're already
Yeah,
seeing results. And all these little indie guys are using that Unreal Engine 5. They have no pride in it. And we're already seeing cool things already come out of it. How quick a turnaround, dude.
yeah.
Right. So anyway, let's move on from this freaking debacle, dude. What's the last AAA that came out? It wasn't shit. And
Well, was it shit or was actually awesome?
yeah, no, just not shit.
Oh, probably 2018 was for me personally. Was the last year that we had that, and that would be Red Dead Redemption 2. Now it had
Oh,
problems when it launched too, but they weren't anywhere near this stuff.
that's the
Uh,
same time Last of Us 2 came out too, right?
no, I think that came out in 2020.
You really? I thought it
Uh,
was long ago because that game seemed to work pretty well actually. It's just woke,
yeah.
but it did seem to
Yeah,
be
yeah.
pretty smooth.
No, I heard that game worked well, but yeah, it's just
Yeah.
And
And
Odyssey came out in 2018 as well.
all right.
Assassin's Creed.
And someone did mention the leak for GTA 6, which is a shame. But Rockstar always puts out good stuff, dude. So I'm not too
But
worried
we'll
about
see.
them.
The guy who was responsible for writing all of the narratives
Hmm.
and was basically their story director doesn't work there anymore.
Oh,
yeah,
And
okay.
that's a
that's
problem.
always a bad sign because for whatever reason, when companies do this, they lose that guy. They never replace him with anybody better or as good. It just
Well,
doesn't happen.
not these days, it seems, anyway. Yeah,
Yeah.
especially the writing in this game is god awful. Anyway, let's go on to something a little more fun. I thought this was an interesting top 10 list.
It's an interesting picture there. I
Hmm.
mean, obviously, number one is the guy in the middle. Why are we even pretending? Um,
Yeah.
Well, this is from Frank. Frank has been put on top 10 lists.
this guy, this
Frank's a
Frank.
youngin'.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I tell you. But I mean, like, who else could be number one besides Mario? Come on,
No, it's
who
got to be
else?
Mario. Yeah.
Who else?
I don't
That
know.
weird little Italian guy who flies around with raccoon tails, and it doesn't make sense. It makes no sense, but it works.
Yeah, he's certainly iconic. I would also say that Trevor from the Castlevania might be on the list.
I think Castlevania is more just Castlevania itself,
Yeah,
like the
maybe.
the the whole deal.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. I
But
agree.
let's see. I don't know that this is such a different list than last week, Frank. But all right, let's go on. Here we go.
Good time.
Solid
Snake.
Snake. Fair.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Sure.
yeah.
Yep. Yep. Very good. Are
I
we going
love
to
some
get the
solid
what's that other spy game that was didn't
Splinter
Metal Gear
Cell.
took over? Yeah, Splinter Cell. Yeah, I don't even know that guy's name.
Sam Fisher.
Sam Fisher.
Uh,
There it is. Yeah.
yeah, he was awesome too, but he's not Solid Snake awesome.
No, he ain't Solid Snake. Fair enough. Solid Snake's got metal in his face. Yeah, maybe Roger Samus. Yeah. Ooh, that's low. That's really, really low, Frank.
Let's see who else is on here, but yeah, that's pretty low. Again, and it's 343's fault. They haven't put out a good Halo game in a very long time. All I know is in my formative years as a young adult, there was literally nothing bigger than Halo. Not a movie,
Yeah.
not a game, not a book, nothing. It was
Nothing.
the franchise in the world.
Yeah.
So
See,
I
I
don't
could see Sam Shepard here, right?
know.
His name's Sam, right? Isn't it Sam? Yeah, Sam Shepard.
Shepard. It's
Shepard.
just Shepard.
I could see
Yeah,
Shepard
you get
here,
picked
but
first.
I would put Master Chief too.
I'd put him up there. He'd be up there. He'd be definitely in the top five. He definitely will be nine. Holy cow!
It's very low. It's very
Yeah.
low. Uh, hmm. Okay, let's keep going on here. Scorpion. Scorpion is well known. He, from Mortal Kombat, he's a character that most people could name.
And most
So
people.
I don't
Uh,
know if I'd put him above Master
no,
Chief.
no, no. Just look at the sales of the franchises. Just no. And
Yeah.
uh, I love Scorpion. Don't get me wrong. I think he's probably the one of the best creations of that whole franchise. And his aesthetic is iconic. But no, he's not above Master Chief. Come on,
Well, I mean, honestly, the best character in Mortal Kombat is Jax. I'll fight you for
this
it.
guy. This guy. You would pick the black one. You would.
Dude, Jax is badass. I love playing Jax. But anyway, I'm a racist though. So, you know. Let's keep going here. That this
Well,
is yeah.
uh, if this is the representation of fighting games, I wouldn't put Scorpion in the category at all. But okay, keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's way too it shouldn't be above this character right here. Should have been the top
Guy
3
from
at
No,
least.
I'm saying if that's the representation character of fighting games, he shouldn't be in the list at all.
No, fair.
He's one of them, but
Fair.
there's another one that should be in the representation of fighting games.
Guy. Yeah.
Doom guy.
I would put Solid and Chief way above Doom Guy. But yes, Doom obviously is incredibly important to the history of the
Yeah, but
whole
is
industry.
Doom guy though? Doom is, but Doom guy.
It's a good question. I would say more of the classic Doom with the
Back in
face,
the day, yes.
and
All
less
right.
of the
Now,
Yeah,
Slayer,
fair
they
enough.
call him.
And Elrod, he should be on this list. You're right, dude. I don't know if he'd be number one, but he better be on this list. But I would put Doom guy much lower than this. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, Rockman. In Japan, he's called Rokuman, by the way, Rockman. He's not Mega Man.
yeah,
Yeah,
we know.
Um, if you're going by longevity, sure, he should be above Chief and Snake, I guess. But well, not
yeah,
Snake. Snake's actually older. But no,
no, no, definitely
no.
no. I think he, maybe on the, I don't know, dude. Maybe an alternate. I don't know if he should be on the list at all.
He should be an
I don't
honorable.
know. Mega Man was a huge franchise till they freaking lost their minds and
Yep.
lost the franchise.
Yeah, well, I think we're talking about iconic over decades and decades. I don't know.
I think it's really hard to make a list like this because you're going to talk about different generations. Like
Yeah, and
even
we know
my
Frank is
generation
young. Yeah,
comparably to Sundaro's generation, and we're not that different in age, but we're different enough that our top 10 list is going to be different.
Yep.
that's fair. That's fair.
Because I
But
actually could see Mega Man being lower on the list than 6.
well, see, the thing is, though, I've never played Halo, but yet I recognize the absolute, you know, popularity of Master Chief, though, right?
I
Sure.
mean, the reason there even is still an Xbox is Halo. That's the truth. That
That's
Yeah.
fair.
that console floundered
Say
until
that
Halo 4.
console
It
multiple
did.
times.
I remember lines were on the block, dude. I remember. Anyway, oh, there he is.
There he is.
He should be on the list. Yeah, Pac-Man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry,
Pac-Man.
sorry,
Everybody's
Elrod.
played Pac-Man. Everybody. Every single person probably on the planet of Earth, if they've ever been even near an arcade system, has played Pac-Man.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
He's just that dude. He's that game. Everybody understands. It's very simple premise. You eat the pills, and then you eat the big pill, and you can kill the ghosts. And the
Yep,
only objective is to eat all the pills. That's it.
yep,
Very simple.
yep.
Fun time.
Joshua says Alex Yilk number one. I have no clue, dude.
I have no idea what he's talking about.
No idea, Joshua. Anyway, let's keep going. Pac-Man certainly deserves to be on the list, though.
Yeah,
Link.
don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, okay.
I
But
wouldn't
number 4?
personally put him above Chief,
Nope.
but he should be in the top 5. Yeah, I
Nope.
think top 5 for sure.
I don't know about top 5 either. I think he deserves to be on the list, but I don't know. But fair enough.
definitely should be in the top 5.
And this is the twink version of Link. I used that word correct, right? Booster told me a twink was a feminine man.
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah.
Pretty
Okay.
boy.
Good.
Yeah, no, I have no problem with Link being on there. Zelda is obviously one of the cornerstone
Yeah,
franchises
no.
of the industry.
Yeah. I just don't know about 4. But
Yeah,
anyway. Oh,
Pikachu.
sure. Okay.
I figured he was going to be on here. I wouldn't put him in the top 5, but again, I don't respect Pokemon at all, so I'm biased.
Yeah, but everybody in the world knows who Pokemon knows who Pikachu
Everybody,
is.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I'd say
Being
more
the
than people know who Link is.
Why would
Sorry,
you
Adrian.
pick
Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Detective Pikachu of all?
No, I would agree. I don't know why they picked this particular picture, but I mean, as much as some people don't want to give Pokemon credit, it's a well-known franchise.
I'm one of those people. Raise my hand.
Yeah, I know. There's
Yeah.
other people too. The reality is that it's huge. It's
It is
It is.
worldwide huge.
realized it was. So my kids got into Pokemon, and I found out how big it really is.
Yeah, no, and I know you don't like it, and that's fine, but a lot of these other characters, other than maybe Master Chief, have nowhere near the worldwide
Correct.
recognition that
No, I would
Pikachu has.
actually put Pikachu top 5. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I think that's correct. Everybody
yeah,
knows him. He's immediately recognizable. And that's what an icon is. immediately recognizable by anybody.
He's got a lazy eye though.
He does.
Yeah.
It's all that electricity. Yeah. Let's see what number 2 is. Okay,
Sonic.
Yeah.
fine. Sonic.
Yeah. Well, so
I
that
have a
means
feeling
number one.
Sonic would be number 2.
Yeah.
I don't.
What's that?
Obviously, number one's gonna be Mario, but
Yeah, obviously.
I don't know if I put Sonic above Pikachu.
Sonic is huge.
Yeah, he's not as big as Pikachu though.
Yeah, I don't think so.
No, I would put Pikachu before Sonic. Well,
It's a tough one because if
Shepard's
you ask
not
this
on the list, dude.
no,
who's
no,
been long here? Who's been around longer?
Sonic.
Sonic's been around longer.
He has,
I
but
would say it depends when you would ask. So if you would ask this question in like the year 2000, I would put Sonic here, right where he is. If you ask this question now, though, I don't put him here. I think Pikachu has far surpassed him.
but you notice we don't have any Batman on this list.
He's probably not considered enough.
He's not a video game character considered.
Oh, okay, fine. I'll take that. Yep. And of course, Mario. Well, obviously.
But the man himself.
Well, he is
the
number
man
one.
Saved video games himself. Yeah. That's a fact. Home video game consoles were floundering, and then Mario came out.
Would John Madden be considered a video game character?
No, but the franchise is.
Okay.
I think he's probably more famous for the video game than he was for being a coach, and he won Super Bowls.
Yep. No, I remember him as a coach. I think my fondest memories of John Madden is as a commentator. I think he was a coach and he was a very successful coach actually. But when he became a commentator, I loved him. Huh?
They're gonna think the game. If you say Madden to most people, they're gonna think the game. They're gonna say the game.
Oh, probably. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's true.
In our age group,
I would have probably had it if I was doing this list. I would have Chief somewhere in 3 or 4, depending, and then Pikachu somewhere in the top 3. Mario's number 1 because obviously, and then honestly, I would say number 2. I don't know. It's hard to give it to Sonic, and the only reason it's hard to give it to Sonic is because he hasn't really done anything besides the movies in a long time.
Yeah,
you're not. That's not true. My kids know Sonic. They know Sonic very well, and it's not because of the movie; it's because of the games.
They don't have a successful franchise like they used to.
They got a new one coming out, by the way.
How bad
their games
were for a long time. Until very recently, I'm saying they've course corrected.
There was a break from like 2000 to you're right 2000.
Mario has never
to like recent years there was a break in that.
Well,
yeah, you're right.
Well, let's see what we do for our top 3. Me personally, it would be Mario, Pikachu, Master Chief. That would be my top 3. How about you, Adrian?
I think that's fair.
I don't. My top 3 or top 3 that I think should be in this list.
Most iconic, yeah. What do you think's your top 3?
I mean, I'm not too opposed to the top 3 that they put here.
Okay.
I know you, but I'm from a different generation, so I'm gonna think differently.
Yeah, I don't.
I would probably switch Pikachu and Sonic though.
Yeah.
And Sonic's third.
I think I agree with yours, Chester. I think that's probably accurate.
Yeah.
I think if all it takes is one good Halo game, and it'll take back over because it's just that game. Whereas Mario, for the most part, has never missed. Like Mario games are pretty much always great.
That's true.
And that's impressive because we're 35 years into this sucker, 36 years, whatever it is.
That is a fair point, Eric.
What's that? Lara Croft, yeah.
Lara Croft.
Well, the problem with Laura is, again, what has she done for me lately? Yeah, you had that.
She hasn't done anything.
Yeah, that's true.
But that's the problem, right? So, like, Master Chief he's reached a status now where he doesn't necessarily need to be successful as a game. Like, doesn't need to be a great game. People are still going to go buy it because it's Master Chief Halo.
That's true.
Whereas Laura Croft, I don't think that's true anymore because they've threw the whole character away, to be honest.
Mhm.
And Mario's the same way. That's to me, that's what an icon is. They sell themselves. Mario sells himself. The fact that his games are usually always really good, if not great, is largely immaterial. If it's a Mario game, a Super Mario game, or whatever, it's gonna get bought. It just is.
Yeah, and
People
they
are gonna
do,
buy it
but
and
they
play it.
do a good job with it. They really do.
They do.
But yeah, Samus, I'm surprised she's not on the list, to be honest with you. But Crash Bandicoot, no, Joshua, uh, no. And of course, Elrod says Carmen San
Depends
Diego.
on your criteria of the list
Oh,
too.
you Elrod. But then
Certain people are going to have different criteria as to why they would put something on a list.
yeah, but Samus, I think she should be on the list, though, dude. I would. That's the only one I really think.
I
Matter of
would
fact,
pick
I
up.
would
You
replace her
have,
with Doom Guy.
yep,
Yeah, I was getting ready to say the same
and
thing.
I would take Scorpion off the top 10.
Scorpion wouldn't be on the list at all for me. If
Yeah,
I would, I think Ryu's more
I agree. I wholeheartedly
more
agree with that.
noticeable,
Ryu,
more known.
Yeah, sure.
probably
Street
Ryu.
Fighter. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But it's Frank's list, and I'm starting to feel bad for Frank. You
I
guys?
would even say Chun-Li's more iconic than
Chun
Scorpion.
Li's
Oh,
even
that's
more
true.
iconic
That is
than
Or
true.
Scorpion.
I,
More
I yeah.
iconic than
Yo,
Ryu
can
almost.
are you guys starting to feel bad for Frank?
No, pick better list,
Nah.
Frank. God,
They put him under
the fact
pressure, though, dude. He's
the
clearly their
fact
top
that you
10 guy,
put
right?
the fact that you
Yeah,
put Master
clearly.
Chief at 9th is absurd, Frank. What are you doing?
I believe that I agree with you there. It's absurd. I wouldn't put him as low as you guys would, but he'd be in fourth for me probably.
I mean, he's got to be at least top 5. Holy shit,
He'd be
Who?
in the top five at
Who?
least.
Who?
Chief,
Master
Master Chief.
Chief.
Oh no, he should be in the top 5 minimum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But whatever. It's okay. And it's definitely not Carmen San Diego Elrod. No, bad Elrod. Um, I do. Oh, can I get him done? I'm going to try. I kind of gotta. I won't do the last one, which is too bad because this is actually a comic book thing. I'll try to. Maybe I'll do it next week. Let's just end with this one right here. Oof.
Hmm.
Oh, I don't like that idea. Ryan Gosling rumored for Marvel's Doctor Doom. The reason I don't like that idea is because Gosling's not intimidating at all.
No, he's a good actor
I can
though.
walk up to Ryan and beat his ass. I'm not. I don't believe he's Victor Von Doom. I'm sorry. I
No,
just don't.
I agree.
Yeah,
The
a Marlon Brando want to be Doctor Doom. Gotcha.
uh Well, I mean, I like the baby goose. The baby goose. I'm all on board with him. He
Yeah, I
does,
like Ryan Gosling a lot.
but he's
No,
not
I like
Doom. Yeah. Uh,
no, it's a good pick for Doom, but I do like Ryan Gosling. Quite a few of his films, but
you know who I'd put in this? You know who would I would choose? Carl Urban,
I was gonna say I would choose Carl Urban as well.
because he'd
Yep,
pull that shit off, dude.
you could do Carl Urban. I
Years.
still say Henry Cavill would be a great Doom. He's got the
Yeah.
size.
No,
Cavill.
maybe.
I'd put Cavill.
He's
But
never really played. I mean, he did the Mission Impossible movie where he was a villain, but he's never played like a high-profile villain before, and I think he'd kill it.
Yeah.
Really.
yeah, no.
Plus,
But
it could be kind of an audition for Arthas, and that's what I really want him to play.
and one of the problems we're going to get with Gosling is we wouldn't have trouble Urban. Gosling is going to have to show his face,
Yeah,
and
Carl
we
will
Yeah.
have
really don't
that thing
need
on.
that. Carl Urban has proved that that's not important, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
but the thing is, it is a rumor that it's Ryan Gosling, but this is a Kevin Feige rumor, though, right? But keep in mind, clearly, what they're working on with Marvel isn't working because we all know they're running around in circles right now because they can't find their main thing. And there's been a lot of little Doom comments for the past, what, half a year? A
Yep.
lot of little Doom comments. So they're trying to. I think Doom's coming.
Here's how this could work. All right, I've been thinking here. Gosling is a fantastic actor. He genuinely is
Yeah,
fantastic.
he's a good actor. Yeah.
If they did something akin to what they did with um oh the robot, the robot from the Avengers movie. Holy crap, brain! The bad guy in the second Avengers movie.
Vision.
The bad
Spader
guy. Yes, not Spader, but the
playing
character.
Ultron.
Oh,
Ultron.
Ultron.
Holy crap, my brain just forgot his name. If they did something akin to that, and what I mean is they have him be uh Victor Von Doom, like a young Doom or something, and then what happens to him happens, and then from then on, it's just a different guy, basically like a body stand-in, or they could even CGI it if they needed to,
His voice, yeah.
and make him big, and just his voice, right? Make him bigger and more imposing and stuff. Because Gosling can pull off intimidation and stuff as an actor, but I need the physical presence for Doom. That's something they have to get. They got it right with Thanos. They have to get it right because it's so important to his character that he's a great wizard or whatever you want to call him, sorcerer. He's fantastic with technology and incredibly powerful. But what makes Doom such a great villain is he's imperious.
He
He's
is, yeah.
intimidating.
You're
He
right. He is
shows
a
up in
techno mage.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yes, he
And they
shows up in
never want to
every
do
Marvel
that,
film.
do they? Right?
No.
No.
So they could potentially do this, especially like you said, he's gonna want to show his face. Okay, let him show his face in the beginning part of the movie, and then put the damn mask on some other guy and Darth Vader it.
Yep.
Uh, why not? Why not do it? Because I think Gosling is a good enough actor; he can pull it off, and it could be good. I would rather they just give it to Cavill and just let him have fun because I think he'd do great. Um, because he's already got the physical presence. So we'll see. I think it could work if they did it right. But my fear is the same thing you have, Chester, that he's going to want the damn mask off all the time.
Yeah, I'm worried
And
about that. Yeah.
we don't want that. Nobody
Yeah.
wants that.
But the point you made with the techno mage that is Doom, they never want to do that. And I
No.
hope they do because they've introduced magic quite clearly in the MCU now. Magic is it's there, it exists, it's a thing. So,
Yep.
I think they'll probably do the techno mage thing now because the mindset is different because of the fact that magic is a part of the MCU.
mhm.
Um, back when they were doing like those original movies and the debacle that was the new one, they were afraid of that stuff. They were
They were.
afraid that it wouldn't make sense to the audience that he could do both things, and yeah, they were just afraid.
Well, they almost have to.
They'd
You
have
gotta
to do it now.
with
Yeah.
villains. He needs an edge. So we've already had magical villains that were incredibly powerful. We've had technological
Right.
villains incredibly powerful.
Cosmic
We
villains that were
need one
incredibly powerful.
who merges them, right? And that's one of the things that makes him so dangerous. But again, that's just the garnish to Doom. The reason why Doom works is because he's imperious and imposing. You believe he's a threat just because look at him. Of
Yeah,
course he's a threat.
you need a presence. You do.
Yes,
In all honesty, what you need is Anthony Hopkins.
a young Anthony Hopkins
Yeah.
Yeah.
with somebody the size of Henry Cavill, and he's just doing the voiceover.
Yeah.
Terry Crews for Doctor Doom in the suit, sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
why not?
he's got the
But
build.
yeah. Yeah, the problem is we just don't have many actors today that can pull off the imperiousness. We just don't,
No.
dude.
I'll tell you who can. The guy who plays Jack Reacher.
He's got the
Yeah.
physique, but you think he can pull off imperious?
Yeah, the very opening scene of Jack Reacher, he intimidates a guy without saying a word.
Yeah, but
Stares at.
um, Doom is a Caesar,
Yes.
right? Is what he is. He literally is the king of Latveria. But
Right.
he's always presented as a Caesar, right? And you need someone who can be a Caesar. The problem is the only people that can do that are the Brits.
Often. That's
Yeah,
true.
because of
You know who else
they're
is gonna get
thespians.
himself
They're
in good shape? If he could get himself back in shape and stop being a tubby boy, is Russell Crowe.
oh Russ. Oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
Good
Where
Doom
was
if
my
he.
brain, dude? That's the perfect choice.
Russell Crowe for a very long time was my absolute favorite actor. From like
Oh, he's stunning.
Gladiator to like 2006 ish. He had a run there of just unbelievable performances.
Oh no, no,
Unbelievable.
yeah, you want Russell Crowe. So what we need is Russell Crowe. Okay, Ryan Gosling can do young Russell Crowe, and
Yep.
then we have some big guy in the suit, and then Russell Crowe voices him. Oh, there you go, because
I love it.
he can do Imperious. Oh yeah, he can.
Doom gets 2 A-list actors because he's fucking Doom. That's why.
He is. He's like,
That's why.
you are so impetuous, Reed.
Yes. I love it. I love Doom. Doom doesn't get the credit he deserves. He's a fantastic villain. He's the
Yeah.
Darth Vader of Marvel. Really, no, let's be fair. Darth Vader is the Doom of Star Wars. That's the truth. Because Doom was doing it first and better.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, that Russell Crowe is the only clear choice. But who knows? I guess we're getting Ryan Gosling. But if he voices it, maybe. Because this guy does he's not like a lot of actors where it's just Ryan Gosling, right?
Yeah.
In a different
Yeah.
role. He's not. He can be different things. He can be radically different things. So, you
Yeah.
know,
Like I said, it could work, but he's not going to be able to pull off walking around in a suit of armor.
no.
Right? Like, it's
No,
just
no.
not going to happen.
Although in that Gray Man, dude, he's buffed out, dude, big time,
Yeah. Yeah.
big time. He's
That
because
Canada,
I thought that
Canada's
was a
got a
Chris
better there.
Evans movie, right? And it's not, thank God. It's a Ryan Gosling movie, and he's awesome.
Maybe that's why he's getting buff. Maybe they already talked to him.
Maybe.
Hey, we want you for Doom, but you gotta be put on some muscle. You gotta get big.
Possible.
But Canada's got a point over here. They already cast Russell as Zeus, which kind of
Yeah. Kind of screwed up things. I forgot that
was-
they did that.
That's a cameo throwaway. It's too bad.
what a
And that
waste.
movie's a complete
What a
flop anyway.
waste.
But he
Ugh.
could voice it though. We're just talking about him being the voice, right?
Yeah, he could absolutely voice it. I don't think it would be a problem, to be honest. Um, but you need somebody with that level of chops and that level of experience, right?
Mhm.
Doom has to come off as a mature. He's not immature. He's not irrational. What he's doing with purpose. He knows what he's doing at all times. That is what you need. You need that level of an experienced person and actor to play that and pull it off.
Who?
And it's tough. Like you said, it's tough. There's not a lot of guys in Hollywood
No.
at that level.
No,
There just isn't.
it's not. You know who would have been absolute perfect? He's dead now. But what was the name of that actor? He did so many great roles, but maybe the most relatable one, he played King Richard the Lionheart in The Blackadder, season 1.
Oh yeah.
That guy.
I can't remember his name, but yeah, the
Yeah.
British actor.
Yeah. He did a lot of the classic Shakespearean stuff. That guy, someone like that. They need a Shakespearean actor is what they need, which is Russell Crowe, right?
He was quite a comical.
Sure.
Good.
Yeah.
I love a King Richard the Lionheart movie.
He was awesome though, dude. But King Richard Lionheart was an asshole. But nevertheless. Anyway, thank you all very much. And let me come back over here, and I got to go to work. So,
He's the hero of Robin Hood.
who? Russell Crowe?
No, Richard the Lionheart.
In the story, yeah.
In the story.
Is he?
Yes,
How?
he saves Robin by the end of it. The
Oh,
only reason Robin
I'm not
executed.
talking about the goddamn Kevin Costner movie. I'm talking about the Russell Crowe Robin Hood.
I'm not talking about the Costner movie either. I'm talking about the Legend of Robin Hood.
Oh yeah, no, I understand, but we were talking about Russell Crowe. Don't get me sideways.
It's fun.
Yeah, that's fair. But no, there are the good and bad Robin Hood movies. Although the what did save the Kevin Costner movie is Sean Connery showing up. That saved that movie
Well, yeah,
big time.
oh, it does. In
Yeah.
fact, 20 years ago, Sean Connery for Doom.
Maybe.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Yes,
maybe.
he's got a very Scottish accent, but I think everybody'd ignore it. We'd get over it because he's Sean Connery. We always do. So, we always do anyway.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
we care about that.
True. Well, anyway, guys, I really got to go to work. I got to get to my day. Thank you all for coming in. Keep in mind tomorrow. I hope we're running the game. I'm ready, so we'll see what happens. But come back and check that out. Now, I do believe this Friday is is the equinox, the autumnal equinox. Therefore, I would assume that the clocks will be changing.
I do believe. I think
So
Yeah, I
let's
think
check that.
so I'll try to remember that for next week and not be early.
Heck, yeah,
you
I
reminded
wish we
me.
could get rid of frickin' daylight savings time.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't.
No, it's not till. Whoa, wait, really? Is that? Hang on, let me double check.
Yeah, because the autumnal equinox is on Friday the 23rd, and do you know what the
According to
spring?
this, it's not till. It's not till November.
What?
Yeah,
Why?
I don't know.
That's weird. Oh, the problem is I haven't had to deal with daylight savings in decades.
Oh,
So
that must be nice. It just
yeah, yeah,
it's just a relic of a time that no longer exists. We have lights, guys. We don't need to do this
right.
anymore.
No, it had value when they did it back in the day. I understood why they did it,
Yeah.
but they need to change that. Anyway, um, whenever I'll check it and I'll try not to forget like I do every year. Nevertheless, thank you very much, Adrian. Would you like to say something to the people?
Yeah, as long as you're up for much more mature storytelling and violence and good cyberpunk fun, I would recommend watching Cyberpunk Edge Runners. It's probably going to be slated as one of the best animes of the year, but there's a lot of good anime supposedly coming out, so it might have some competition coming out soon.
Have you seen it
But
yet?
oh yeah, me and my wife binged it in 2 days, like 2 nights. It's only 10 episodes, but it was like my wife is very picky when it comes to these things, and she gave it like, the first episode a try, and she was like, "Yeah, I'll keep watching it with you," but she didn't seem to be in it. By the third episode, she was wanting to finish it and didn't want me to watch it without her. So, like,
Yeah,
we were
no.
talking about today because it impacted like our thinking for that long. Like I got home from work and she was like, "Did you think about that show today?" And I was like, "Yeah, I was still thinking about it all day."
No, that's cool. I'll
Just
have
because
to check it out.
there's a lot of themes going on in it. It's not what you think it's going to be, but it is what you think it's going to be all at the same time.
Cool. Yeah, no, I'll definitely check it out. My wife's the same way. Did you watch that without me? Yeah, no, I understand that.
Yeah, yeah, that's part of being married, I suppose.
I suppose, but they have no stamina whatsoever.
That's
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
factual.
factual. But anyway, thank you very much, Adrian. I will. I didn't know it was out. I definitely want to check that out. Thundero, takes out of here, man.
I've also watched it, Chester, and it is very good. Very,
Oh,
very
good. That's good to hear.
good. I am going to read an excerpt from C.S. Lewis himself, the man,
Ooh,
the myth, the legend, one of the greatest authors to ever live, and a good friend of Mr. Tolkien himself. This is about what Aslan, the Jesus allegory lion, can
mhm.
and cannot do. And he responds to Lucy and he says, "You see, they will not let us help them. They have chosen cunning instead of belief. Their prison is only in their own minds, yet they are in that prison and so afraid of being taken in that they cannot be taken out."
Namaste.
Yep.
Namaste.
Later, everybody.